fuck the metronome.
Oh, fuck the metronome. Think we're on, mate.
Oh.
Hello.
Bloody hell. We're back.
Everybody.
Hello.
And we're back. This is episode number 16?
I think 16.
God damn. Number 16.
We're
We're
rolling,
almost
bro.
to number 20. Holy
I
shit.
know, dude. It's insane.
I was actually thinking about that the other day when we were doing 15, but then I totally forgot. But
Yeah.
hell yeah. Welcome back, everybody. You know what this is. It's Too High for TV, where two guys get too high and probably talk about a little bit too much TV from time to time.
That's what we do.
And I'm one of your co-hosts, Jimmy Fallon, to my right.
I'm your co-host, Jimmy Kimmel.
And yeah, we're Too High for TV, guys.
God damn it.
Thank you guys for tuning in to episode 15. If you did, that was definitely a fun episode for me. I loved Stranger Things, so I was definitely dying to sit down and talk about it.
Hell yeah.
And we both love Obi-Wan, of course, so
Hell yeah.
we had a great time, brother.
Brother.
But this episode, we have a fucking...
Our first fan episode.
Yeah.
Technically, kind of.
Yeah. If you remember a few months back, if you follow us on Instagram, I did sort of like a question. I was like, what's your guys' favorite movie or movie you want to see us to talk about? Movie/show. So we got a bunch of movies. We got a bunch of shows. We took, I think, like 4 of the movies that were mentioned. It was Amores de Perros, I believe, City of God, A Clockwork Orange, and then I'm No Longer Here.
Oh, yeah.
We basically did like a little poll on Instagram and see which 2 you guys wanted us to watch more, and we landed on motherfucking City of God and this disturbing ass movie, A Clockwork Orange.
Very hardcore.
And yeah, so that was basically what we got for this week. We got A Clockwork Orange, we got freaking City of God. If you guys have seen those,
Yeah.
they're freaking great movies.
2 very good movies, for sure.
Very, very good movies. Clockwork Orange, I don't know if you watch that a lot. If you watch it all the time, I got to ask you a few questions.
Yeah, for sure. We got to have a conversation.
Yeah,
Maybe have a doctor present.
Exactly, because that's a freaking goddamn.
That's a fuck of a movie, bro.
That's a fucking insane ass movie.
Yeah.
But hey, fucking man, you guys want us to talk about them, so that's what we're gonna fucking do.
That's right.
Expanding our horizons.
That's right.
Because all those movies that we put in like the poll, I had never seen before.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, so I was ready.
Perfect.
Some of my friends were like, "Yeah, dude, A Clockwork Orange, that one's gonna be a pretty crazy one." Freaking City of God, that one's also gonna be a pretty nuts one. So
I was down with both, but I think City of God definitely peaks out for me.
I can watch City of God
Again.
more.
Yeah,
Like
I don't think I'll be able to watch Clockwork Orange again.
at least for like 6 years.
Yeah,
or
I
something
don't really
like
want to.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
because like City of God, like right after I watched, it, I was like, damn, like yeah, I'll watch that again.
Yeah.
I'll throw it on maybe
Yeah.
later in the week and see what we got. See what we got again, because that shit was really really nice.
Yeah.
Really really beautiful. I mean, foreign movies are just really good, dude. Like, I don't know what it is. Like every time I see like a foreign movie, it's like to me like head and shoulders above like a lot of the stuff that I've seen just like released here in the United States. And I don't know if that's just because like me just seeing a new movie and sort of, I don't want to say genre, but sort of seeing a genre from a different culture.
Yeah.
Is definitely very like, oh my gosh, it's like eye opening. It's like,
Most
holy
definitely.
shit, this is crazy.
Well,
But I mean, like, I just feel like everything I've seen, you know, whether it was like Squid Games, whether it
Yeah.
was this movie, something
Yeah.
like Parasite, like something that's not made here in the United States, fucking great. And then a lot of times stuff that's made here, it's like hit or miss. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think at this point we have a very. I can't speak to what the industry of making movies is like in other countries, obviously, but
Yeah.
obviously we do a lot of talking about it here in our good old U.S. of A.
Yeah.
And like it's very machine based, you know, like we're pumping out a lot of movies, I would say, just to make profit as opposed to like making art, so
Yeah.
to speak. Like you kind of have to dig for them every once in a while to find the really, really good ones and such.
That's true.
So, you know, we might just be over inundated, bro, with like all of the fucking American pop movies to the point where it's like when you do finally see something that's like a little different, you're like, oh my God.
This is great.
Yeah, which it is though. Like not to take away from the quality of the movie or like the amount of work that the creatives put into the movie. That's not what I'm trying to say. But it's just a breath of fresh air, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Definitely a nice palate cleanser.
Yes, there you go. That's
Yeah.
good.
But how was your freaking week, man? We're recording this early in the day on Saturday,
Yeah.
so I can't be like, how was your day? Because it's like,
day? Yeah, hey,
days
if you can't tell, we
barely
have
even halfway
some
over.
nice little lighting going
hell
on
yeah.
here. Yeah,
It's hot as fuck.
hot as fuck.
I need to actually plug that in and sunshine. Keep going, keep going.
Oh yeah. My week was good. I started off pretty freaking tired. Last weekend, my cousin Nate came into town, and so you know, whenever he's there, we got to celebrate. We got to have a good time. We got to hang out, and so we did that at a little birthday bash. One of my cousins turned 1 last weekend, so that was fun. But
Hell yeah.
that definitely tired me out throughout the week, bro. Because holy shit, it was a shit show
1-year-old
of a
birthday
week.
parties are fucking nuts, dude. Like,
Oh,
people
yeah.
go crazy for 1-year-old birthday parties,
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
like, the baby's not going to remember.
No, but it's
But
not for the baby.
Yeah, it's for the parents.
It's
I
for
gue-
the
I guess.
parents,
Yeah, that's
cousins,
true.
tios, tias, you know?
Then why don't you just chalk it up to like a
party.
like an anniversary of like, hey, this is when I get that's what a birthday is, but
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
if the 1-year-old birthday party is not for the
Don't try to make it about them.
yeah, exactly. Just be like, if it's about you guys, just be like, hey, we're having an anniversary of
Yeah.
I pushed this motherfucker out.
Yeah.
so let's
Hey,
get
that's
it.
a good point, man.
Mhm.
Yeah. My dad always
And like start having birthday parties when the kid can remember.
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
When like,
My dad always tells my mom happy birthday on mine and my sister's birthdays.
there you go.
Cuz he's like, "You did that shit, bro." Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
It was the day she did give birth.
Exactly.
You just happened to be the one
I
being
was
birthed.
I was a bipartisan.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything. I was just
sitting
lucky
there
enough
one
to
day.
get through in one piece,
Yeah,
man.
there you go. Oh gosh. Let's
Yeah.
spark these up.
Fucking it, let's hit him.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers. But yeah, it was fine. The end of the week for me definitely got a little hefty at work, bro. Thursday was fucking fucked up.
Yeah.
Just super busy back there.
Mm-hmm.
Inventory side of things, we got a shit ton of orders and a shit ton of things wrong with those orders.
God damn it.
And you just gotta fix it on the fly as you can. You just batten the hatches down. You just keep on going, dude.
Yep.
But we got through it. Wasn't too bad. Left in a good place for the weekend. I'm excited to, celebrate some more graduation festivities. I think you got something like that planned later today, too.
Yeah. Tis the
Um,
season.
Yeah, it is. It was real nice to go to dinner last night.
Nice.
Papa Jacob had
Papa
him on our
Jacob.
show before.
Happy birthday, my man.
Yeah, he's had a birthday last Tuesday, and so we went to Jardines just to go celebrate with him, have a little dinner, and then hung out at the homie Dez's house.
Shout out Dez. Lord Dez
Lord, Des a dear. Yeah, it was a good way to end the week for sure. Definitely like a nice breath at the end of the week. Just
Yeah,
finally chill
you
the
have to
fuck
have
out.
those at the end of the week
Yeah.
where you just kind of I don't want to say like celebrate, but you sit down, you're like, fuck, okay, the week's over.
We did it.
That's why me and the homie F, you've obviously heard him on the podcast here before,
Yep.
but like we like to go to one of the bars in Hollister, and then we'll like just have a couple beers, freaking play some pool, and catch up during the week because when you're getting older, you're working all the time. You don't
Mhm.
get to see your friends like you do, like when you're in high school or just getting out of high school.
Yeah.
So it's always good to. It's important definitely to make that time to just kind of like hang out.
Catch up, man. Yeah,
And it's
definitely.
nice too at the end of the week when it's just like, all right, I don't got to fucking worry about work tomorrow for the next couple days.
Yeah.
We're just gonna go drink some beers, bullshit, smoke some weed,
Hell yeah.
and it's gonna be a good time. What's
Howdy,
up?
partner.
You want to hit or what? Huh? It should be on your it should be on your thing, on your freaking.
Oh, you shot him?
Yeah, I showed him. Yeah.
I did. It looks beautiful. I heard y'all got
Yeah.
to smoke some already, dude.
Yeah.
Shout out Tommy Madrano, by the way, making
Yeah.
an off-camera appearance over here.
Yeah, hell yeah. What's your favorite movie, Dad?
Rocky.
Rocky? Which
Woo,
one?
that
There's
was
freaking a
quick.
bunch of them.
That was quick.
Rocky 3 or Rocky 4?
Okay.
Those are my two favorites.
Really?
Yeah. that's-
Okay.
Rocky
like father,
3,
like son.
Rocky
If you
3.
really get into Rocky, you gotta watch from the beginning because
Yeah.
you know the whole story.
Yeah.
Okay. Up, down.
Growing up poor and fighting the right boxer
Mhm.
and, fighting his old lady, his
Yeah.
somebody that he called
Adrian! Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And he actually fought for her, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. It's a great movie. Yeah.
Let's
he
do a
should-
Rocky
If you
episode.
If you watch Rocky 2, he did not, I don't want to give it away, but
Hmm?
he did not start training until she told him.
To train.
Yeah.
It's all about
And
Adrian.
after that,
He just came to town.
oh,
Yeah.
Yo, let's do a Rocky episode
I'm
because
down,
I've
dude.
only ever seen. I think I've only seen this. Which one is the one where he trains in the snow?
Oh, it's Rocky
oh,
4.
that's Rocky.
Okay,
No,
that's-
no, that's Rocky 5.
No, it's Rocky 4.
No.
Yeah, Rocky 4 is when
Oh, yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
when he fights Ivan Drago.
Yeah, that one. I've.
Cover leg, the
that-
Rocky 3, that's see, it's weird how you see people when they come for and all of a sudden boom boom.
Yeah.
But to me, Rocky Balboa, he bought all this stuff, but it really did. To me, in the movie, it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
He had the money. I can go buy this. I can go buy that. But in the end, he went back to his roots. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Train where in the streets.
Yep.
And, you know,
Yep. Hell yeah.
Being a freaking baller. You know
Fuck
what I mean?
yeah, dude.
Hell yeah.
Thanks for the tip.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks for my 2 cents.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah, man. Let's
That was Tommy Madrano making a guest appearance.
making a guest appearance.
My father.
How I dress.
Huh?
It's on my dresser?
No, it should be on your it should be on the toolbox. I literally just put it right on top of there. Dad.
What?
Don't put it in the jar. Just let it dry out still for a couple days. Yeah, he's the one who showed me the Rocky movies, dude. When I was young, he showed me those movies. Shout out to my parents. They showed me some good ass movies when I was little. They didn't show me many movies. I would say that like it wasn't like a super big movie household, but they showed me some good ones. Rocky, freaking Harry Potter.
Oh yeah,
honestly.
dude. Oh yeah.
Freaking.
Come on, you can't go wrong with some
Yeah.
HP. We still need to do an episode on that too.
Yeah, Efren's got to be on that
Yep,
episode for
100%.
sure. But yeah, that's funny. He says Rocky 3 and Rocky 4 because those are my favorites too.
Yeah, okay.
Rocky 3 for his same reason, like Mr. T as Clubber Lang, bro, like fucking great. Hey, boy. Hey, woman. Like, dude, he's just like the perfect like villain, like in a boxing movie, like. He's fucking great. Seeing
He's
his
the heel, bro.
Yeah, seeing his training, then seeing Rocky, like he said, seeing Rocky go to freaking, I forget what city they go to that Apollo Creed's from, but they go back there, and they literally just like train in a freaking old ass freaking
Like gym.
boxing gym, just hella dudes in there, and like you see Rocky because he's at the place where he's kind of fallen from grace almost, you know, because Clubber Lang freaking beats him in a fight, and then he's like, fuck. That's like the beginning of the movie, so he's like, fuck, I gotta go back and train, gotta defend my title, motherfucker. So he, like, Apollo Creed literally takes him, is like, hey, I'm gonna show you how to train and show you how to really get into it. And, like, shows him how to do, like, footwork, and, you know, it's, honestly, I would say one of the best, like, training montages that I, like, every time I watch it, I get goosebumps, because
Rocky's famous
really
for their
good.
training montages, bro.
Like, I'd say Rocky 3 probably has the best training montage, and Rocky 4 has the most cheesy 80s like training montage, dude.
With fucking Dolph Lundgren just fucking
yeah.
with all the machines on him and shit.
What's
like
what's the song that they're playing in that too?
Let me see.
Ah, god
Probably
damn.
something perfectly 80s.
Yeah,
bro.
it's like, oh god damn, I was listening to a podcast last week and they literally mentioned it. It's freaking dude, it's literally the perfect freaking song for that too. It's god damn it. It's like on the tip of my tongue. I can like feel the words in my brain, but they're not translating to coming out of my mouth.
Let's see.
Fucking god damn it.
Rocky 4, right?
Yeah. Stand by, everybody.
I think it's. Is it an 80s song?
Yeah, it should.
Or
be.
is it just part of the score?
I
this
no,
the
it's I feel like it's an 80s song, dude. No, that's not it.
This is not.
Fast
Wait,
forward.
hold on. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I think keep going.
Is this the one?
Yeah. Is it?
This is Rocky 4. Hold on, we can
Oh yeah. I think it is. Yeah.
It's just like San shit.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I do remember this because like.
On YouTube, we're gonna have to fucking cut that shit out for YouTube.
Oh yeah, for sure. They're gonna be mad about it. But yeah, I do remember that scene because I remember seeing it and actually thinking like, oh, this is kind of cool because it's like you see fucking Dolph Lundgren doing like the super high tech training, with all the machines wired up to him, like monitoring everything, and then like Rocky's just like helping people in the street, like but like training still and like jogging and shit.
All the people that came with him to Russia, he's like, yeah, I'll sit in this wagon and I'm gonna fucking press you guys up. Like that shit's funny. I was watching it like, cause I'll go on YouTube and that shit will pop up in my algorithm every now and then.
Yeah.
And I was watching that shit and I was like, god damn, this is funny. But I remember watching as a kid like, yeah. Go Rocky, yeah.
Yeah, hell
Like,
yeah, dude.
And I vividly remember that shit. And this is I really love like hot wings and like spicy wings because of this movie.
Oh, okay.
Not because they're in the movie, but because every time I would watch it, I don't know why, like I would like want to eat them. Like,
Hot wings?
Yeah, hot wings. And so like every time my grandma would watch me and I'd put the movie on, she'd be like, all right, gotta throw the hot wings in. And I'd be like, yeah. So it's like every time I watch that movie, it's like some fucking
nostalgia.
Not even nostalgia. What's the fucking what's the dude's name? Fuck, I was in psychology. I should know the dude's name. But the was it Pavlov, the dude that did the freaking
the cat experiment or whatever?
the dog experiment where every time they rang a bell, he like started salivating.
Oh yeah,
that's how I feel with the Rocky
with
4 movie, dude. Every time
okay.
it comes on, I'm like, fuck, where the hot wings at, man?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah.
Need my hot wing fix, bro.
Good job, wing figs.
But yeah, dude. My week was fucking. I was just tired, honestly, all week.
Same. Yeah, I
The
think it's in
freaking-
the air, dude.
It's hot. It's getting hot.
Yeah.
Like, it just gets so cold, and then it gets really hot, like, super fast. So you're just like,
It's draining, dude.
fuck, man. And then just having to, like, honestly, like, harvesting last week took a lot out of me.
Yeah.
Like, I just felt like I was just so tired because
Yeah.
I worked, obviously, all week. And then that day that was supposed to be my day off was technically a work day because I'm doing all that.
Yeah.
And then it's just been a freaking... Then getting my outdoor stuff ready. So I was, like, transplanting that on, like, a Monday. And I had to do that, like, early in the morning before it got hella hot. So I was like, fuck, dude. It's been a fucking week, man.
Been a fucking week, eh?
But before we get into our movies,
Yeah.
I had a story that I want to tell that I've been thinking about all week.
Okay.
It's kind of a fucking crazy, funny. It's funny, but it's also crazy at the same time.
Okay.
So I'm gonna take you guys back to when, if you guys know me personally, you guys know that I worked at In-N-Out for a while, like 3.5 years,
Mhm.
almost 4 years,
Mhm.
and then I started working at a dispensary, and I've been working in the cannabis industry ever since for about a couple years now. So this story goes back probably like 5 or 6 years, I would say. I think like the first summer where I was working at In-N-Out.
Mhm.
So I remember the first summer I would close all the time. You know, I was always, the thing about work, like I never really liked school, but about work I've always been a hard worker. Like I always go to work, busting my ass, because you get paid like shit. Like you go, you work for something, like might as well like work hard, and that's how time goes by fast. I never understood people that were like just sitting there like fucking like lollygagging at work. But
Lollygagging.
so during the summer, I started getting on like the closing shifts because one, I would get basically like my maxed out hours that I could get as a part time. The only thing that sucked is freaking obviously closing at In-N-Out. If you're In-N-Out closes at 1:00 in the morning during the weekday, so Sunday through Thursday they close at 1:00 in the morning, and then Friday, Saturday they close at 1:30.
Damn. Okay.
So
I never knew about the 1:30.
yeah, dude, yeah. If you're working there, like
That's late.
you're getting off like 2:30, like 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I guess what had been like a tradition with closers before I got there was like they would go to the Denny's like across the street. Because so if you're familiar with the In-N-Out in Gilroy, there's a Denny's like right across the street. Like not like there's the outlets, and then there's literally a Denny's like right across the street where you can literally like walk and blah blah blah.
Yep.
And then to the right of that, there's there's the Denny's, and that's literally where everyone after work, like 2, 3 in the morning, they would go. Like someone would buy like a 12-pack or something, like of like Modelo's, and then some people would bring weed, and then we would just like smoke and freaking, obviously just talk shit about the day. Talk shit about all the shit that happened during the day. So I obviously got into the tradition of, since I was a closer all the time, like all of us, we would just be like, going to Denny's after work? Yep. We got beer? Yep. All right, cool. Then we would freaking go to Denny's. So basically do that all the time. I mean, and it's like no one's there at Denny's at 2 or 3 in the morning, so we literally just go to the back and park all the way in the back, because the restaurant basically like shields you from like the actual street, so no one can really see you if you're just chilling back there and like drinking or smoking, unless you actually like drive back there. So that's literally where we would hang out. And the people that own Denny's didn't give a fuck. Like they didn't care. Like what are they gonna like? There's literally no one there. What are they gonna say? Oh, leave because all the customers. There's no one in the fucking parking lot. So we would just be there and always just shooting the shit, smoking, drinking. Leave at like 4 in the morning. I'd get home like 4:15, 4:30, and then freaking sleep till like noon. Yeah. And I was like, fuck, this kind of sucks. But anyway, so there's this one night. We're like, oh, normal night. It was a normal night, but it wasn't necessarily normal because it wasn't like the normal closers that were there. But, whether you close all the time or you kind of close every once in a while, like, all right, cool, we're going to Denny's after work. So we're all like, we're going to Denny's after work? Going to Denny's? Yeah. And it was like a fucking long-ass day, too. So we're all like, fuck yeah, we need to go to Denny's after work and just kind of chill and relieve the stress of the fucking day. So we're there. We're bullshitting. And so to the right of that Denny's is like a motel. And it's like a nicer motel. It's not like super nice, but it's like on the nicer side end of like motels. Motels tend to be normally a little sketchier.
Yeah, for sure.
Horror movies go down at motels. But
Norman
this is
Bates
like
shit.
this is a nicer one. It's next to a Denny's. There's an In-N-Out. There's gas stations. It's in like in a shopping area, so it's not it's not a bad motel. Yeah. But we're standing there, we're smoking, and then we notice there's like one light on in like a room in like the 3rd floor, and then we can hear people like arguing in there. So we're like, fuck, all right. We're just, we're standing, not thinking anything of it. They're arguing, blah, 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 blah. It gets a little bit louder, and we're like, oh, damn, they're fucking getting into it. This sucks. This is crazy. And so we're standing there, and then all of a sudden the dude like walks out. He's like, like, fuck, man. Like, he's pissed. He's like, they're probably just trying to have a good night, and all of a sudden him and his girl get in a freaking argument, and we all know how that is, fellas, ladies, we all know how that is. We're trying to have a good time, then we get in an argument, and we're like, fuck, this fucking sucks ass.
Yeah, dude.
So the dude's walking back, he's freaking like, he has like a drink or whatever, and he like gets in his truck and he puts the cup on top of his freaking on top of the hood.
Yeah.
It's hella funny seeing you like because you have no idea where this fucking story is going.
Wait, no, because the thing that's tripping me out, bro, is like I think you have told me.
I
this
probably
story
told you this
before.
story.
Yeah.
But anyway, so while he's like walking down there, we can see his girl like sort of like looking down at him. She's saying some shit, but not anything all crazy. And then so the guy gets in and he puts his drink on top of his car, like gets in, opens the door, puts a drink on top, and then kind of gets in. And he's gonna start backing away, but the drink's still up top there. So my manager that was there that night, he starts pointing like, oh hey, like starts pointing at the cup. So the lady is in the third floor. She's looking at that. She's thinking my manager's pointing at her, like, haha, look at this dumbass freaking. She's yelling at you, blah blah, and you're driving away. But no, he's trying to tell him like, hey, your drink's still on your car.
Yeah.
If you drive away, it's gonna fall off.
Yeah.
The dude knows, and he like goes. He stops and he gets out and he grabs a drink. Well, in the fucking meantime, when the chick thought my manager was pointing at her, she fucking like runs downstairs. Is like, oh fuck no, blah blah. You guys are talking shit, and like has scissors, bro. Like, has scissors, and we're like, what the fuck? And like the dude's like kind of big, so we're not like all scared. We're like, oh, the dude's gonna freaking, he's gonna handle the girl, whatever. And so he like goes up to try to calm her down, and she straight up like fucking shanks him with the scissors, like straight up. Blah! And I like I don't see like it actually like the scissors go into his stomach, but I see the dude trying to stop the girl, and then she like goes like that, and then you just see him like kind of like kind of like grab his stomach a little bit, and we're like, oh fuck, and we like all at that moment we're like, oh shit, this is some fucking real shit going on. This is like a fucking movie.
Get the fuck
and
outta
so
here.
we're like, yeah, let's fucking go. And we all like scream like fucking mice, bro. Like or it looks like he just picked up a rock and all the bugs from under it just fucking like dispersed, bro. So we're like, what the fuck? And we're all running to our car, and like my car is kind of like closest to all the where the stuff's like going down. And so I was like, fuck, man. Luckily my car was unlocked, so I like open it and I get in super quick, and as I close in, she like hits my window, and I was like, oh fuck, dude. And I freaking turned that shit on, fucking backed up hella quick, and we fucking dipped, bro. Don't know what happened to the lady, don't know what happened to the dude. Hopefully, dude, you're okay. Hopefully you broke up with that girl, because why the fuck is she stabbing you, bro? That's some crazy shit.
That was some crazy shit.
Yeah, and safe to say, we didn't go back to Denny's for a few days after that, but
for sure.
Yeah, that was like a once in a blue moon. So that was the only like sketch thing that ever happened at the Denny's.
Dang.
But that was like I was like
sketch.
Yeah, I was like going home, my heart's fucking pounding, adrenaline's fucking rushing. I'm like, oh shit, I almost died.
Yeah, fuck,
this is a crazy lady almost stabbed me with scissors. But it was some fucking that was some shit, bro.
Dude.
Shout out to In-N-Out
For them crazy stories.
Yeah, shout out to this. Is how I remember it was like my first summer working there, because the manager that was there, it was his name was Chips. That was his nickname. We called him Chips.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because I think about him, he really reminds me of like a 70s ass freaking dude that's working in a freaking burger place. Just because one, the In-N-Out outfit, right? It hasn't changed over time. It's pretty fucking similar. But then the way he wears like that little hat that they wear, like the paper hat, he like doesn't put it on all the way. He kind of has it like sitting up a little bit, so you see the front of his hair.
Yeah.
And then he has like the first couple buttons of like the shirt like undone, and you can see he has like a gold chain, and he has like a couple like he has some like chest hairs popping out, and if he would take off his shirt, he'd have hella chest hair. And he was just funny, dude. He was a funny ass dude. He loved drinking fucking water. I remember going to the office one time, and he like had this big jug, and he like took this big old fucking drink of water. He's like, oh fuck, man. He's like, water's so fucking good. And I was like, yeah, dude, I can't disagree with that, bro. I'm mostly water, so yeah, I'd have to agree. He's like, fuck, dude, I could just drink this shit all day. And I was like, you probably should. You have to. But he was a fucking cool ass dude. He always like opened the bags up super loud to where it made like a crazy like popping noise.
Yeah,
where,
like,
like if you weren't like paying attention, like it would scare the fuck out of you, because it would just be like, fuck. Yeah. And you're just like, fuck. Woo. But yeah, that was an In-N-Out story. I'll bring some more, sprinkle them in and out every now and then.
I like it.
But yeah, let's get into
Clockwork Orange.
Let's get into our shit, man.
Oh yeah.
You want to play the freaking?
Let me pull her up here.
Let me pull her up, man.
Let me pull her up. There it is.
Son of a bitch. That's
Son of a
great every motherfucking time. Sound
Every
like Tony
time.
the Tiger.
Great.
Great.
It's great.
But yeah, guys, so we're going to start getting into our movie talk of the week. The first of the two that we got,
Clockwork Orange.
fucking Clockwork Orange. This is a fucking pretty messed up movie.
Very messed
If you guys have ever seen it. Directed by Stanley Kubrick.
Yep.
Also directed The Shining.
Yep.
Also did 2001: A Space Odyssey. What is it? Full Metal Jacket. He's also done.
Yeah.
Done some crazy shit, man. So
movies.
I mean, shout out to Stanley Kubrick. He is a great director.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know like what else to say like getting into this movie other than it's fucked up. I mean,
it's very fucked up. We should probably say like, yeah, like in the same kind of times that we warn about other graphic shit. Like same thing here. Like,
yeah,
it gets pretty intense.
yeah. Like I wouldn't say it's like graphic and like super gory, but like it's just really intense. The topics that they deal with are super intense.
Yeah,
you know,
there could be
a lot
triggers for sure.
yeah,
Like,
definitely a lot of triggers. So
yeah, it's so it's a dystopian future is supposed to be the setting, right?
yeah,
You have
the main character Alex,
and his band of droogs.
basically a gang, just
Yeah.
a gang. The Droogies.
The Droogies, yeah. And yeah, they're just a bunch of fucking assholes, bro. They just go around fucking terrorizing people. The main actor, I can't remember his name, but like I remember him as an old man in movies because like obviously this is from the 70s, but he's been acting. Something McDowell, I think. And so seeing him in this, he's like fucking terrifying, bro. Like from the very first scene, like when they open up and he's like staring right at the camera and shit, like ooh, yeah. It's pretty horrifying.
Yeah, definitely one of the most like uncomfortable, like non-horror like movies. Like this is straight up like psychological shit. Like messes with your fucking
psychological warfare. Man.
Yeah. So we have the main character Alex. Like you said, he's like Dano said, he's basically just a dude that's in a gang. He's about 15 when we start.
Yeah. I guess.
It's weird like seeing an old dude play like a 15-year-old, but anyways, like, yeah, him and his gang, they literally just get into, like, trouble all the time, whether it's, like, robbing shit, beating people up. It's mainly, like, literally, like, beating people up and, like, robbing shit. And a lot of, like, rape goes on, which is, like, pretty intense. So, again, like, triggers and stuff like that if you want to watch this movie. And, like, even, like, the way the movie opens up is pretty fucking gnarly because it's just that homeless dude kind of, like, singing in, like, by, like, a... I don't know what it would almost looks like the LA like like river and shit like that. Like it looks like that. Yeah. And then you see Alex and his fucking homies walk up and they're acting like they're enjoying like his singing, but then it really turns dark right away and they just beat the fuck out of him basically.
Super crazy.
Like just for fun. Yeah. And that's basically a lot of what you see, and like the first half of this movie is like Alex and his band of droogs just going around and doing sadistic, just crazy shit like for kind of just like for fun, dude. Yeah. Like that's really like all I can say. Like they beat up that guy and then they get away in their car. That was a funny ass scene. I kind of like laughed when it shows them like driving away in that car.
Oh, and the guys
like,
are like
like you can see like how fake it is, like 70s freaking fucking effects. Yeah. And then they stop at this home. They instead of like, hey, we just already beat the fuck out of this dude. Let's just go home. They're like, nah, let's
go find somebody else to fuck with.
Let's do a home invasion instead. So they basically find this house. I forget the dude's name, I think it's like Alexander or something like that.
Yeah, the old man, right?
Yeah. And so they knock on his door. The wife goes to answer the door, and they basically have this whole sort of like script of like, oh, like we need help, miss. Like my friend, like he was in an accident, he's bleeding. Like, can we use your phone? Yeah. And initially she's like, we don't got a fucking phone.
Fuck no, yeah.
And she's like, please, and he's like, please, it's an emergency. And she's like, all right. Like the husband's finally like, oh, like just let him in. Yeah. And mistake number one, she opens the door and they just fucking pile on in. They grab her and they freaking start beating up the old dude who's like some writer or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
And basically just like have their way with his wife. I just feel uncomfortable saying like the word.
Dude,
like
it's terrible. Like, it's fucked up, bro. This movie is bad. I mean, it's like the way that they. So we should say what happens, right? Is that like you are taken through like the homeless guy, that one, and then I think was there one other before he. Maybe not, but
so it goes the homeless guy, and then when they're driving back, they do the home invasion with those two people, and then after that they do another home invasion with like the fitness lady.
Oh yeah, okay, and so like basically, flash forward, like to the end, is that like they all basically come back around,
Yeah, full circle is like a big theme of like this freaking.
Yeah. And
know.
so like after all of those like parts are, fucking committed and all those horrible shit is done, it's he gets left outside the fucking it's after the third one, right? Where he gets left outside the house and he gets picked up.
Yeah, so basically what happens is so after the couple where they had the home invasion with the old couple,
Yeah.
you kind of go through a sort of not a montage, but you see kind of what Alex's life is like
yeah,
outside of
yeah,
all this
yeah.
shit. He comes from like a good home life. It's not like he
Yeah.
has a harsh home. Like
Nope.
his parents just don't know what the fuck he does, and like
Yeah.
the big thing about it is like his parents just don't know how to raise like a kid right. Obviously, like they don't know how to like just raise him. Like he's doing all this bad shit. They never really do anything to correct it. They're not like really concerned about what he does like late at night. Like they just are like, oh, like he was working like late last night, but they don't
Yeah.
know what the fuck he does,
No.
and he doesn't tell them.
He's
And
supposed to be at school. He's like skipped for like a week now.
yeah.
Yeah.
And his mom just does not do like a good job of like getting him back. She's like, you need to go back to school, and he's like, oh, I'm not, fuck it, like I'll just
He's
do
like,
blah, blah.
I don't feel good. I gotta
Yeah.
rest up so that way I don't miss a whole nother week of school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and he kind of just goes around and you see more of like kind of just like how sadistic he is, because after all the stuff goes down, like all the robberies and all that, he like comes home and listens to Ludwig van Beethoven, like specifically like his Ninth Symphony, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just weird because through all, like we were talking before this, through all like the violent things that he's doing, like you have this beautiful symphony, like this shit that Beethoven crafted that's going on behind it, and it's like this weird, like you said, juxtaposition that like is going on.
Yeah.
And I think it's sort of like a way to show like how Alex just likes that shit. Alex likes doing like all these fucked up
Yeah.
things, and he sees them kind of just as art, like you like music and shit
Yeah.
like that, and that's why like you see all like the fights, like they have all the Beethoven going on in the background. It's kind of like in slow motion, showing that like he's really enjoying and like
Yeah.
savoring kind of like that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have other things like when he goes to like that one store and he kind of like picks up those two girls and like brings them back and they have like
Oh,
the
yeah.
threesome, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's like sort of like sped through because
Yeah.
he doesn't really like give a fuck about it.
He's just
Like
yeah.
he's down for the sex, but it's more like he doesn't get like fulfillment from it. It's
Yeah.
more like, okay, he's just kind of doing it just to like do it, like he has that charm so he's able to.
Yeah.
But it's not
exactly.
he's not necessarily having sex for like enjoying it and like the pleasure. He's kind of doing it just to like
That's
do
kind
it.
of the thing, is it's like same thing like how you said when he like doesn't come from like a place of needing to rob people, or like, not that that should happen, but shit happens.
Yeah.
But like
It's honestly, thinking about it, these two movies that we're doing is really nice, showing like the two
Yeah.
different sides of like, okay, he doesn't need to do this shit because he comes from a good life, but he just likes
he's just
doing this
fucking
shit.
like evil, bro. Like that's
Yeah.
just like just fucked up. Like just does it because he wants to. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for sure, 100%.
And you kind of see how he's really into like the whole like order of like nature and shit like that, because like when his posse, like when two of them try to like give a little pushback and say like, oh no, let's do this and let's do that, you see how he's kind of like like sheep, that's just what they are, like
Yeah.
blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And he really just is like more assertive and like fucking they're walking, he's like, oh yeah, we'll do what you want to do, and then
Yeah.
just like starts beating the fuck out of him and like cuts him in like his
Yeah,
hand just to show him
yeah.
like, hey, no, motherfuckers, like I'm your guys' leader, like
Yeah.
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 in nature, like you guys are the sheep, I'm the fucking wolf, and you
Yeah.
guys are just following me and shit like that.
Yeah.
So he's just an evil ass fucking dude, bro.
Yeah,
like
dude, he is.
really, really evil.
Yeah.
And then after that, he finally, like, his friends are like, oh yeah, no, like let's go do this home invasion on this freaking what is it, the health house or whatever. Like no one's gonna be there. Like it'll be super easy to get in and blah blah blah. So they go. And that's when Alex, like, he tries to do, like, the whole, like, playbook of, like, oh, my friend's outside, like,
Yeah.
and then the lady kind of, like, catches on and, like, calls the
like,
police and is like,
yeah.
yeah, it reminds me of the script that was in the paper about, like, the other shit that went down.
Mm-hmm.
And so the cops are like, oh, well, like, we're coming down. So Alex isn't privy to all this, so he climbs in, and then he kind of, like, walks into the room where she's at, and he, like, sees all, like, the crazy, like, nude sort of,
Yeah.
like, art that he has, and he's like, oh, wow, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And, yeah, fucking murders her, ends up like beating her to death with a
Yep.
freaking penis sculpture.
Yep.
And when he's like trying to escape, telling his Droogies like, "Oh, the cops are coming! Like, let's go!" They freaking bust him upside the head with some milk, some Korova
Oh
milk.
yeah, yeah.
And then that's how the cops catch him. And then they freaking basically he gets put on trial and loses. And what I thought was crazy was he got 14 years for murder.
Yeah.
they're just like, oh yeah, you murdered someone, 14 years in prison.
Mhm.
That's it. And I'm just like, he's 15. He's gonna come out when he's 30.
Yeah.
He's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's gonna be like, all right, well, not fine. He gets fucking penance, bro. Like,
Yeah.
fucking, honestly, what he fucking deserves, dude.
Yeah. You see how the control like flips, right?
Yeah, 100%.
He's not used to not having the control, and
Yeah.
then when he goes to
He gets
like,
stuck in like a Christian shit for like a couple years, right? Like
something like that.
school or like prison school thing or
It's like
something.
a reform. They call it a reformatory.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, yeah,
So it's like a prison, basically.
yeah.
You know.
But they just like try to reform you with God, basically. Like they read the Bible and shit like that. And
Yeah.
teach. Yeah, yeah.
And it's just like, but it's just like a bunch of like perverted ass like
Yeah.
people there. Like you see, like he like has put himself in a position where I guess he's like head of the class almost, like it seems like, or he's
Yeah,
like a good kid,
Because he was helping out and shit.
and like he's up in front, and, like these two dudes are like making kissy face at him. He's like,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
the fuck?
yeah.
But then you also see like the warden almost kind of like he sees it going down and is like, that's kind of weird. Like he has like a weird sort of
Yeah.
face, but then kind of like turns a blind eye. So you
Yeah.
kind of see like the corruption that also is going on. Like corruption's also like another big sort of like theme in this.
Mhm.
The main theme is like, as we'll get into it, like the just like free will, like freedom of choice, and
Yeah.
like that's what makes us like human, right? Like
Mhm.
yeah, humans make all these crazy, terrible decisions a lot of the time, but that's what makes us human inevitably is
the
the fact that
freedom to
we
make
have
that
the
choice.
choice to
Yeah.
either do right or wrong.
Yeah,
And obviously Alex is just always choosing to fucking do wrong.
yeah,
And so when he's in prison and trying to, do like kind of be good because he wants to kind of like be good, I guess, quote unquote, to just get out,
yeah. Yeah.
they have this new sort of procedure where like it almost like we operate on you and it takes all the bad impulses
Yep.
out of your
Yep.
brain basically. So it's
Yep.
like, sign me the fuck up.
Yeah, because they tell him he'll get out hella quick too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
just like, all right, yeah, I'll do that shit.
Yep. Signs his fucking life away, basically. Yeah, he gets. And then, yeah, that shit was insane, man. We talked about how crazy it was that they would have had to actually do that shit with the fucking. Because so basically what they do is they, like, brainwash him by sitting him in front of a chair. I mean, in front of, like, a movie screen, right? Like, he's, like, front row in the theater, straight jacket up, like, tied back with his head like that. And they fucking. They put these fucking little. Like pinchers basically and like pull his eyes
His eyelids open
so
dude.
that he like can't close his eyes. Yeah, he looks insane. And they did that shit to him. Like the actor like did that like a fucking savage, bro. Like, oh my goodness.
It's acting. It's for the theater.
for the theater. And it's crazy too cuz like there's always like somebody right there next to him with like eye drops.
Yeah.
So like his eyes don't dry out and shit, like just constantly like putting shit in.
Mhm.
And they basically brainwash him so that anytime he thinks or like gets horny of like thinks about sex or violence, he like starts to get sick, like starts to like retch, like gross shit, dude.
Yeah.
Like
Cause like the first time he was watching it, he was like kind of okay with it. He's like, it's
Yeah.
like kind of uncomfortable, but I'm like
Yeah.
fine with it.
And
And then
then
at
they
a certain
keep
point, he like
doing
freaks
it.
out and he's like, I'm
I
gonna
feel
be
sick.
sick. I
Yeah.
feel sick. Like
Yeah.
it's a sin. Cause they're also playing like Beethoven in the background
Yeah.
too. So
Oh, yeah,
that's
yeah,
also
yeah.
fucking with him because he loves Beethoven
Yeah.
and the fact that they're pairing it and sort of showing him like what's going on in his head almost like.
Yeah.
Because when he's beating up all these fucking people, getting into gang fights, like he has Beethoven like playing in his head
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he thinks it's like beautiful, this work of art.
Yeah.
But then they're showing him like, no, this is actually what it fucking looks like. It's not
Yeah.
beautiful. It's fucking weird and shit like that.
Yeah.
And so he's like, oh, I'm gonna be sick. I'm gonna be sick. And he's like, I get it. Like I'm sinner. Like I understand. And they're like, nah, you don't understand
Yeah,
yet.
They're like, keep going.
Yeah. And it just and there was another thing. They're also like feeding him some stuff too, right? That they call like vitamins or like
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
That I think has something. I don't know if it was more like a psychological thing or
Yeah.
that was kind of like pairing him to make him sick. So it was
Maybe.
like,
Oh, yeah,
it was
maybe.
making him sick at the same time when he was watching it.
Yeah.
So then his brain sort of like, oh, doing that Pavlov sort
Yeah,
of thing
yeah,
where it's like,
yeah.
oh shit, boobs. Ugh,
Yeah. Yeah.
I hate boobs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's basically what happens. Like, and
Yeah.
they sort of like the scientists, like you kind of feel bad for him at this part because they're like experimenting on him,
Yeah.
but then you also don't really feel bad because you're like, oh, you're a piece
Yeah,
of
he's
shit,
fuck, yeah,
you know. So,
exactly.
but then they're like humiliating him too. Like they're making him lay down, like make him like lick the bottom of
They
like
do like a
shoes.
showcase, yeah. Like
Yeah.
they bring people in to be like, look what we've created.
Yeah.
And like on a stage and everything with like a fucking spotlight. Yeah.
Yeah, and they haven't really like they didn't really cure him. They
No.
just, paired that feeling of sickness with, the thoughts of like, sex and, violence and all that stuff. So he's not cured. He just gets sick every time. So he just doesn't want to feel sick. It's the bad thoughts didn't leave his fucking brain.
No, exactly.
They just kind of like nurtured him. They just took a knife and put bubble wrap around it.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's cool.
Yeah.
But eventually,
It'll probably pop.
it's gonna break. The knife's gonna fucking break through that bubble knife, and
Yeah.
you're gonna fucking stab someone with that shit.
Yep.
So damn, that was kind of a good analogy.
That was good. I like that one a lot, bro. Hell yeah.
But
Fuck yeah.
yeah, like that's just the whole fucked up part of this movie. Like you just see him go through like all this torture shit, and then everything comes full circle when finally he like leaves and he's able to go home. Like he goes home, but then you see his parents almost sort of like they didn't adopt a new son.
No, they just like rented his room out.
They rented his room out, but the new dude wasn't a piece of fucking shit. So they were more down for him, and they also didn't know he was getting out too.
Yeah,
that was the other thing. They're like, "What the fuck? Like it's only been like a couple years, and you're already out."
Yep.
And he's like, "I'm back, motherfuckers."
Yeah.
And they basically, they don't like force him out, but the new dude that's their like quote unquote son is like, "Nah, you're a piece of shit. You see what you do to your parents? Like your parents are fucking good ass people, and obviously you do this, and that."
Yeah.
And then he wants to like beat him up, but then he starts to get sick. He's like,
yeah.
and he's like, "What the fuck is going on?" Like they're like kicking him out. They like kicked him out, and then
He's like, "Where's my snake?"
yeah, dude, he kept a snake in his drawer. What the fuck?
Crazy, dude.
Sick motherfucker, dude.
Yeah, fucking. Yeah.
Makes me fucking. Ugh.
He's a like perfect like. Honest, it's his gross and like they get more into the nasty side of it, but on the surface, he's just like a classic villain. Like listens to classical music while committing heinous acts, has a pet snake.
Yeah. And he like really doesn't give a fuck about like the money or like all the shit that he literally just has it in a drawer and he's like, "Oh, cool. These are just like kind of keepsakes almost." Like
there's
just
like all hella watches in there and shit too. Yeah.
Cool.
Ridiculous.
Doesn't like wear any of them. Wears his fucking milk white freaking milkman freaking outfit with the freaking black sort of like top hat almost.
Yeah.
And then looks like he has like the boxer cup that he's like wearing like on top of it too. I was like, "What the fuck? This is some fucking weird shit." But
dystopian future.
But yeah, everything comes full circle because after he leaves, obviously he was a piece of shit to his parents because he like always like controlled the house. Like his parents couldn't really tell him what to do.
Yeah.
Then finally his, he can't do anything, and so his parents fucking kick him out.
Yep.
He's kind of just walking around, and then what happens? Oh, he runs into the homeless dude.
Yeah.
And he remembers him, and then all the homeless people start fucking beating him
the shit
up.
out of him.
And then
the cops come to save him, and then he looks up, and it's his fucking old gang,
old Droogies that he was a
Droogies.
piece of shit to almost. Like he would always yell at him and freaking obviously like beat a couple of them up and like cut one of them and was just always like doing weird shit. Like there's that one scene where he like sits on the fucking dude's lap and is just like in his fucking space and is just like, "What the fuck are you gonna do, bitch?" Like I'm in your fucking space. You're not doing shit.
Yeah.
And then the cops are just like, we got you, motherfucker. Like, you can't do shit. So they literally just take him off into the fucking woods.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they know this fucking just trough of nasty water's there, but they fucking, like, dunk him in there.
Yeah.
And I thought he was going to die.
So
at
did
that
I.
point.
Because
like,
it was for a minute. I was like, oh, dang. Yeah, they're going to fucking kill him. Yeah.
And one of the cops was like, all right, just kind of let him out. And the other dude's like, no, his feet are still kicking. And, like, he still, like, leaves him in there. And the other cop's just like, all right,
whatever.
And he's just like kind of just trying to undo like the cuffs, but taking forever.
Yeah.
And it's just shit show after shit show.
Yeah.
And just showing how he like loses that control, and when you don't have the choice to fucking do anything, like how just powerless you fucking are.
Yep.
And like sort of opens up your eyes about how like kind of just starts a conversation of like choices and it's. I wouldn't say it's like super relevant today, but you kind of see the atmosphere, like political atmosphere of like things going on and people feeling like their choices are being taken away from them. So it's kind of interesting to see this and how it was constructed back then, like this movie was constructed back then, and see how it can sort of still tie into things like nowadays.
Yeah.
Obviously not so intensely of like everything that fucking goes on to the movie, but the basic ideas of
the
like
concepts and
freedom of choice, nature versus nurture, control, corruption, all that stuff is pretty fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Cause he even like when he shows back up to like the old dude's house, like fucking stumbles out. Like the old dude doesn't really recognize him.
No, not at first.
But then realizes who he is and kind of like what he's been through.
He's like because he's there. And because the other thing too that I don't think we talked about yet is he narrates this whole movie. Yeah, which is freaky too because the whole time he's like talking to the audience and referring to like us as like my friends, like this and that, like as if
Mm-hmm.
he's like just telling the story to like a close buddy or something like that. So it like adds like a whole nother layer of creepy. But like when he gets in there, he gets like carried in by this big ass fucking like dude real quick all of
Yeah.
a sudden. And he's just they come on to like the like scene with the old dude, and he's just like sitting there, and he's in a wheelchair now because he wasn't before, right?
No.
Yeah. So yeah, he's in a wheelchair now, and they like pan over to the room, and you just hear like. It's just like this big fucking dude there, like pumping fucking guns real quick, and then
Yeah, at first, I thought it was like the wife. I was like,
So did I.
Let me know the wife's like getting down, fucking lift away.
so did I. Yeah, but no, yeah, that's more sad than that. But yeah, so he goes, brings him in or whatever, and then like in the narration, he's like, I knew he didn't recognize me because like we used to wear the masks or whatever, blah blah blah, and he doesn't, and then he's like, you know, trying to help him or whatever, and then fucking. Basically, he's like, hey, run him a warm bath. Like, he's probably cold as shit from the rain and blah, blah, blah. And he puts him in there. And then he gets on the phone, and he's like, again, like, part of the corruption bit a little bit, too, is it's like, yeah, he's, like, saving this guy or whatever. But he also recognizes him from the papers because, like, it was a story, you know, that came out of, like, him being subjected to this, like, experimental treatment or whatever, right? And, like, coming out reformed.
Yeah.
And so he's like calling to basically flip the story of like they took his choice away. Like this is like we have to defend like liberty, some blah blah blah, something or other. Like because he's a writer who wants you know that shit too. And then you hear him in the fucking thing because in the first scene when he was there the first time he's singing in the rain.
Yeah.
And so he's in the bathtub like a fucking idiot. Like I don't know why you would do that. Like.
It's just his love for music. Like he just loves music so much, he's just not thinking about it. And I feel like he finally feels like he's at a point where like,
I can sing
like
again.
I'm saved. Like I don't got to worry about nothing.
Yeah.
Like let me just belt out these fucking notes right here.
Yeah. So he sings it, and then the dude like basically cracks out, dude. It's insane. Yeah, it's kind of scary, honestly.
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
PTSD ass shit.
Hardcore. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, fucking constructs a plan, and fucks that shit up, bro. He like, so he wakes up in the morning, and he's like eating some pasta or whatever, and like the guy comes down, the old man does, and again the dude's just like carrying the whole ass fucking wheelchair with the guy in it down the stairs and shit. He's just like. Like shit.
He's fucking carrying it just like a regular, like if you're just carry a blanket with your arms out like this, like that's what it just looks like. He's like,
it's insane.
yeah, this dude weighs like 2 pounds.
Yeah, it's fucking funny, dude. And plops him down or whatever, and pretty instantly you can tell like the old man's coming for him, like he's gonna get him and shit. And so he's like, check out this wine that I got you. Why don't you try some of it? And he like fills his glass really quick. And I feel like he's kind of stalling because, like, maybe he's a little tripped out or something, you know? Because he keeps being like, oh, smells really good. Or he's like, fucking, like, is you sure you're not going to have any?
Yeah,
like,
as any normal person would, right? If someone's like, here, try this wine. And you're like, cool, have some too. And he's like, nah, I'm good. I'd be like,
me too. Yeah.
So, very realistic part at that point, I would say.
True.
The fact that he was skeptical, if he wasn't, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? You're just going to drink some fucking wine from some random ass dude, you know? So
because it was fucking roofied, poisoned, whatever, and he fucking passes straight the. Actually, it's kind of that part's kind of funny because he's like, he gets some people to come. He tells them he's like, people from the paper are gonna come and tell your side of the story or some shit, basically, right?
yeah,
And they show up to start interviewing him, and he's like sitting there talking to them, and he explains to them that whenever he hears Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, that it's like worse than worse, like he wants to kill himself basically, because that was like the ultimate like point of his like fucking torture and shit like that. And so like right after he's like explaining that shit, he's like they're like, do you feel like that all the time? And he's like, no, but how do I explain it? He's like, it kind of just feels like I always feel like something bad's gonna happen to me. And he's like, just like passes out in the pasta right there. And that part kind of made me laugh. I was like, God damn it. Yeah. And then they fucking basically lock him up in a room and blast the Ninth Symphony from like these gigantic ass fucking speakers through the floor. and just like torture him, and like they're all sitting down there. That shot's crazy too. I liked it of like the three of them like standing there, and then the dude's just like throwing the little balls like on the pool table like into the pockets and shit like that. And he just decides like, I mean, he explained what he wanted to do before, right? So he's like, all right, fuck it, like this is it, like I'm gonna do it. And he jumps out the fucking window, lands, passes out or whatever, but doesn't die. Yeah. And so it fucking wakes up in the hospital like all fucking broken and shit like that. And like that's when the governor,
government guy.
yeah, the government guy starts to come back in, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he was the one that picked him for the study.
In the first place, yeah.
When he was at the prison, because they had all the freaking. I guess they were going through all the prisoners and seeing which one would work.
Yeah.
And then finally, the dude like spoke up and he's like, "Nah, he's perfect." And he's like, "Oh, do you want to see his work?" He's like, "Nah, he's good. I like him.
Yeah.
He seems like a dude that just wants to get fucked up." So
yeah.
I got him.
Yeah.
Then yeah, the doctor, he basically gets brought to the hospital, freaking nursed back to health, and the governor guy was basically just like, "Hey bro, like basically just saying we'll pay you off, give you a nice job, all this shit, just don't say anything."
Yeah.
And just showing the corruption and just like also the control that this dude just doesn't have, just like he's just like, fuck, I gotta go along with it, so fucking sad way to fucking end, dude.
Yeah. The ending too, he does seem to be like I think back to his like original Alex.
Yeah.
Because like he's like sitting there and he's like enjoying, I think, the almost like him telling him like, yeah, we're gonna let you out or whatever as long as you do this and that, because I think he knows he's gonna go out and just fuck shit up again. Like because he doesn't give a fuck. And like because like the last shot is literally like he like looks off into the camera or whatever, and they like I guess show what he's thinking, and there's just like naked chicks and like a bunch of like violence happening in the background, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm cured, and like the movie ends pretty much.
Yeah.
And so yeah, right, like I mean I assume that's him like going back to just like
basically just saying like, yeah, none of that shit worked, and
like it's worn off now, I'm good.
the
bubble wrap is
the
is
bubble
done.
wrap is off the knife and you're getting stabbed.
You're getting shanked.
You're getting shanked.
Yeah, crazy movie.
This movie's fucked up.
Very fucked up.
And like I said, if this is like, I mean, I can understand it being someone's favorite movie from the aspect of like, this is just a really well crafted movie. Like, I would probably say like, in terms of like the way the movie's crafted, like 9 out of 10, like 10 out of 10 for sure.
Stanley Kubrick's awesome, dude.
But I cannot sit through probably another viewing of this fucking movie because it's just literally like that.
Uncomfortable.
Just uncomfortable. Like just seeing all this stuff, seeing just. And just seeing what he's like put through, like obviously, like I said, you kind of feel bad for him, but then you don't.
Yeah.
But you're just feeling comfortable because you're like, fuck, all that shit. Like, well, damn, if I had to go through, like,
that's part of the like way that they get you almost too. Is it's like they make you feel uncomfortable by feeling bad for a person who's done so much shitty things. You're like, oh fuck this movie, dude.
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck out of here. Like,
and like for me, what started like immediately when I noticed when I was uncomfortable was obviously just the movie opening and it's just red screen. It's just like, all this. Yeah. But then when you, like, just what I noticed, like right off the bat, within that first 20 minutes, I'm like, fuck, there's all this crazy shit going on and then all this beautiful music going on in the back. Like, I just feel uncomfortable because I shouldn't be viewing all this stuff with this
like
beautiful sort of music going, not sort of music, but this beautiful music going on in the background.
Yeah.
So great from fucking... I mean, obviously, like, it's based off a book, so it's not like, oh, yeah, great job, Stanley Kubrick, but, like, great job of, like, executing that and making the audience feel, like, so uncomfortable.
Well, part of adapting a book to a movie, and, like, that's where the filmmaker does come into play. It's like there are hundreds of thousands, if not, like, millions of images that people have from reading books, and so a filmmaker's job is to like do their very fucking best to try and like make something of that, and so that's difficult to do, like to actually put like almost like a finality to it in a sense, like of like, all right, this is what it looks like. But
Clockwork, guys, fucking go watch that shit or don't watch that shit.
Would not recommend. Honestly,
I would not recommend watching it high. Also,
no, it's a little trippy. It's definitely hardcore to watch. I would. I don't know. I don't think I would recommend it. If I saw it, I'd tell somebody what it was about and be like, I didn't like watching it. So
I would be sure to
like,
be like,
it's a good movie, but I didn't like watching it.
It made me uncomfortable. I'm glad just going forward in life, I can be like, I've seen that.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I want to read the book just to say I read the book also, and also just get super uncomfortable, man. No, but like I don't know. I just kind of see because I've heard that the movie is really well adapted, like pretty much like the book is basically the movie, you know.
Yeah.
So I wanna see that. I like seeing the differences and shit like that. Even though I don't read too much, but I like seeing differences and shit like that.
Yeah, for
so,
sure.
Clockwork Orange, motherfucker.
Clockwork. It's like Clockwork.
And also, Clockwork Orange itself is supposed to be like the name is supposed to be something just not natural, because like an orange that's always the same and growing like clockwork
Mm-hmm.
isn't natural.
It's unnatural.
It's not natural.
Clockwork Orange is wrong.
Yeah. Fuck that movie.
Yep. Transition.
Transition to a movie that is still like, you know, definitely a heavier movie,
Yeah, for sure.
but easier to watch, and I think definitely
think so,
more of
too.
like a more beautiful story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do you want to take us away, my man?
Yes.
I'm gonna roll another one up right here.
So, City of God is a actual city in Rio de Janeiro. It is one of the like poorest cities, I think, in the country, right?
Yes,
And
yeah.
so, basically, like what gets explained to you in the beginning is Rocket's your main character,
Mhm.
and he's narrating this whole time as well.
Yeah.
Whoa, actually, okay, holy shit.
Yeah. I was thinking about that when we were talking about when you were talking about the narration of the last
Yeah.
movie, but I don't want to like break up
Yeah,
the
for
freaking-
sure. Holy shit. Okay, cool. Wow, good job,
Yeah.
everybody.
Great
nice
job, everyone picking
votes.
these, yeah.
Fuck yeah. Okay. But yeah, the basically it's like refugees from like any type of like horrible shit that happens in slums in like the bigger cities. Like they just relocate people to the city of God
Mhm.
and leave them there to like
Yeah.
fend for themselves. Like
Just relocate all like the homeless people. And
yeah,
shit like that.
exactly. Yeah, and like the movie opens in like
The 60s.
yeah, what is well, because I mean, like you have what is like effectively like the present. I think it's the 70s, right?
Oh yeah.
Like it starts right
Mhm.
there where like Rocket and his homie are like running down the street and like shootouts happening.
Yeah. Starts at the end.
Yeah, there you go, and it's one of them,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like basically you get the sense that he's like a photographer because he's like I learned so and from so and so that like all it takes is one like picture to capture the like the perfect moment or whatever that could like change the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then it flashes and like you cut back to the 60s and then they're all kids like playing soccer and you get introduced to they're called the Tender Trio. Or what
Yeah,
was
the
it?
Tender Trio.
Yeah, the Tender Trio,
Mm-hmm.
which is Rocket's older brother,
Goose.
Goose. Shaggy.
Shaggy.
And who's the other guy?
Fuck. What was his
Let me
name?
see.
God damn it.
Let me see.
Is it mentioned?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Goose and Shaggy are like the main ones.
Yeah. For the most. Yeah, for sure.
And then fuck. Who is it?
Let's see. Shaggy. Stringy? Let's see, they don't have any pictures for anybody.
Cause yeah, Shaggy.
Goose. Shorty? No. No, Shorty's the other fucker. I don't know. I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Fuck. Who was it? God damn. I'm pissed now, dude. Cause I literally watched that today and I was like,
Wait, let me look it up on Google.
yeah. So while he's looking that up, I'll just give like a little synopsis of the freaking movie. So, City of God basically takes, like you said, takes place in a city called City of God in Rio de Janeiro. Follows the story of two kids as they grow up. One Rocket, and the other is Little Dice, but we changed his name to Little Z.
Yeah.
Basically shows the two different sides of how kids can grow up in sort of the area that they grow up in.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Rocket grows up and becomes a photographer, wants to be a photographer, whereas Little Dice, when he's growing up, he wants to be like a boss of
Supposed
the
to be a
city.
hood.
Yeah, he sees how all like the hoodlums, they call them the hoodlums or
Yep.
hoods for short, how
Yep.
they like operate because they go around with their guns, they're robbing people, they're
Mm-hmm.
you know living this lavish lifestyle because they get this money, they like get the girls, they have all this nice jewelry and stuff like that. So he right away, like as a little kid, he's like, "Kill yeah, this is what I want."
Yeah.
So you follow these stories and you kind of see how differently lives can go in a city like this. Because when it's something like when they're like really poor like that, you really see how like there's just a lot of violence going on, and it's just something that they just grew up and they're used to. You know, like it's not like here like in the United States where like we're going to school all the time, we can be pretty sheltered. It's like not like people are dying every single day.
Yeah.
Not that people aren't dying every single day over here, but to them it's like right in front of their face, like you know, like friends like when they're really young like dying, and it's pretty.
It gets heavy.
It's gnarly, man.
Yeah,
It's a heavy watch for sure, but definitely a really beautiful movie because I think here in America you definitely should watch it because it opens up your eyes to like a lot of shit that goes on like outside and see how bad it is like in other areas. Not to say areas are like Rio de Janeiro is a bad area, but there are worse areas because not because of the people that are there, but because of what like sort of the government has let the place sort of like turn into. And when you let things go, when you are like moving the poorer people out of like the cities because the richer people don't like them, and you're kind of putting them in these sort of rundown cities with not a lot of opportunities. Like there's shit that's going to happen because people have to make opportunities for themselves. And I think that's what this movie does a good job of like showing, and how it's a good like stark contrast from A Clockwork Orange, because we see Alex who does this shit because it's pleasurable and he enjoys it. Whereas you see kids like that, it's either like, I'm gonna grow up and either continue to be poor, try to like do like sell little things here and there and really barely make ends meet, or am I gonna do the hoodlum stuff? Am I gonna be like a drug dealer so I can live more of a lavish lifestyle, have more money, and do all this stuff so I'm not struggling? And so it's gnarly, man. It's a gnarly ass movie.
Yeah, for sure.
But I loved it for sure. Like I give this a 10 out of 10, 100%.
I think there's a lot, like a really good cast of characters here.
Yes.
Like, there's a lot of fun characters. Like, it's Clipper.
Clipper
is the other one.
What happens to that fucking guy?
I think he gets. Wait, no. You only see how Goose and Shaggy die, right?
Yeah. Maybe he kind of just goes and does some other shit.
Yeah, I can't remember. Sorry, Clipper.
Yeah. So in the beginning, we have Rocket who's narrating it.
Yeah.
We see him when he's young. We see his older brother. We see how like different the lives like he and his older brother live, right? Because there's a lot of little kids who idolize the sort of hoodlum lifestyle because they see Shaggy, they see Goose, and they see how like cool they are and all this and that, how good of a shot they are, and they really want to be like him. But like the younger, like Goose's younger brother does not. Rocket does not want to be like that, just because he sees kind of like how fucked up the shit is and how his parents don't like it at all.
Yeah.
But then we see like on the other hand, Lil Dice, who really loves that shit. He wants to hang out with Shaggy and all them. He wants to, have put in his own ideas to see how they can like make money and all that stuff. So it's fucking crazy, man. It's crazy how fast like everything starts and how intense you see everything get right away with like the kids like holding up that freaking gas truck and like freaking stealing gas and stealing the dude's money and running away and the cops running after him and
them all,
dude, it's freaking.
And they're the Tender Trio's like this, like the big gang in town or whatever, but it's like kind of when the city was in pretty early development, I think. Because there's like unpaved, like it's just like dirt all over and shit. Like I don't think they have like the beginning scene like in the thing like ends with them getting like the electricity thing or whatever. So like it's pretty like early on. The city hasn't really like developed yet.
They say how like no one really has transportation there, so everyone just like walks everywhere.
And so Shaggy, right, gets involved with this chick that he wants to run away with.
Basically. So, what happens is, so Lil Dice kind of goes to them and is hanging out with them and smoking with them.
That's right.
And he's like, yeah, you guys just got to follow my ideas. Like, that's how we're going to make more money. And they're kind of like laughing at him. They're like, this dude just smokes. Like, this little kid just smokes. And all of a sudden he's freaking this smart ass guy. But he tells him this, I guess, his plan. And it's to hit up this, I don't know I can't tell if it's like a hotel or like a brothel. I think it's a brothel just because everyone's freaking fucking in there. But I guess it could be a hotel because people fuck in hotels too. But basically their plan is to like basically just go there and rob everybody there because it's just a bunch of rich people that live there. So they go, Shaggy, Clipper, and Goose, they all go in there to rob the place. They leave a Little Dice out as a lookout. They go in, they're robbing everybody. They hear a gunshot and they're like, all right, cool, let's dip. They're dipping. And then they leave, and then we get a shot of like everyone, because they tied up everyone basically when they went in there.
Yeah.
They got everyone, they tied them all up, they freaking gagged them. But then when they're leaving, have the shot, you see everyone just dead in there.
Dead
You're
as fuck.
You're like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? And I think Shaggy is the one that's like, yeah, I'm gonna go get like little dice or whatever, blah 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 blah. So freaking goes and
He ain't there.
can't find him,
Yeah.
and so they're like, what the fuck? So they're like, they steal a car, right?
Yeah.
And they're trying to run away, but then they fucking crash the car. So then they freaking they crash the car into like literally a fucking like a restaurant or something
Yeah.
like that. And then they're like telling them like, you didn't see anything, blah blah. They take off, and I think what happens is one of them like rolled their ankle. So I think
Yeah.
Clipper is no, Goose is the one that's like, yo, like, okay, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna shoot, so the cops don't follow you guys. Just like go into the woods.
No, I think Shaggy is the one who goes. No.
Oh yeah. Shaggy's the one that
the
goes.
one who shoots and
Yeah.
dips. Yeah.
And then then like Goose and Clipper go and they hide in the woods,
Yeah.
and then freaking
It's
they're hiding in that
Shorty
tree.
comes out. Shorty's the one who owns the bar too.
Yeah.
So this is where I wanted to talk about like one of my favorite parts of this movie and the way the movie's made
Mhm.
is like those moments of fucking when like a character gets introduced. Rocket will like tell you their name and it'll kind of like freeze frame and it'll
Yeah.
like pull up a little like character card real quick
Yeah.
and it'll be like, this is Shorty, but his story doesn't come into play until later.
Yeah,
Which
dude.
is great. They do it with like so many characters. Well, they'll introduce them and like at the point in the story where the main characters are at,
Uh-huh.
because obviously it just helps build the world, I think.
Yeah.
You know, because it like fills out this city of like
Mhm.
people that live here that these kids have grown up with, you know?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it's so great, dude. I love it.
And like you naturally get to see like the character development of like all of them, and like you said, the world building. Like you see this little small world kind of get bigger.
Yeah.
Because all the cast of characters gets fucking bigger. I would say one of my favorites, bro, is Carrot. Carrot might be my favorite, bro.
Carrot, yeah.
Carrot or Benny. Benny's
Benny's awesome.
Yeah,
dude,
Benny or Carrot, bro.
The coolest hood in the city, dude.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck, that would be me, bro. Shit.
Fucking
Fuck, where was I
Benny.
at before? Oh yeah, but so when Shaggy goes and is like shooting his gun, so all the cops freaking follow him.
Yeah.
Clipper and Goose are in the woods, basically just in the jungle, kind of like hiding. They're on a tree, and the cops are like right there. And freaking, who was it? Clipper kind of like has this weird freaking vision or whatever. Blah 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 blah. And it's finally just like, yeah, dude, I'm done. Like I'm done with this shit. And and then Goose is like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we see Shaggy freaking finally running, comes to this house and like knocks on the door and like, he's like, yeah, you need to hide me, blah, blah, blah. Like the police are on my ass. And then he sees like the girl that he's like in love with and he's like, oh, fuck. And then like, so the lady brings him in.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, he like declares his love for her basically. And they're
Yeah.
like, all right, cool, we're in love now.
Yeah.
And then,
Real quick, just like that.
yeah, fast forwards.
It's the opening part of the movie, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Goose is basically also like, yeah, I'm kind of done with this. But I think also because like the cops sort of come to his house
Yeah.
or something like that. Or fuck, what happens?
Mm,
Or no, he gives Rocket money in the
Yeah.
beginning of the movie and is like, here, give this to Dad,
yeah.
but don't tell him it's from me. And then I'm pretty sure the dad just knows it's from him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yo, I don't want your fucking money doing this dirty ass shit, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's not, you're giving me money that's not even yours in the
Yeah.
first place to give.
Yeah.
And so finally Goose is like, fuck, like, I guess I'm done with this shit. And then goes to just like sell fish and all that. So it fast forwards 3 months and you have Shaggy who's still with this chick. And the chick's like, hey, bro, like, you gonna do anything? Like, you know, you just kind of want to, like, you're kind of just laying here all day.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, what? I just want to be a farmer, fucking smoke weed and fucking have kids.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I don't want to fucking, I want to do more shit than that. So basically they like plan to like run away together.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Goose who's like selling fish and you see how he's like getting involved with Shorty's wife.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he's like talking to her, gives her like this big fish. He's like, oh yeah, it's a kisser fish. And then Rocket's like, that's not what it's called. Like, it's like hammerfish. And he like
He's
looks
like,
at
"Shut
him.
up,
He's
bro."
like, dude, shut up,
Yeah.
bro. And then we cut to like the scene of freaking Shorty's wife just having a conversation with like another girl, like another wife. And she's like, oh yeah, does your dude go down on you? And she's like, no. And she's like, what? And then she's like, what about doing it, like doing butt stuff? And she's like, no. And she's like, well, what the fuck? And she's like,
Yeah.
well, why? Like, well, why not? And like basically just saying like Shorty would get mad if she
Yeah,
tried
yeah.
to like ask to do that stuff.
Yeah.
And the lady tells her like, oh yeah, like when she's doing from behind, like warm up a banana, stick it in your vagina, like the shit feels good.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay. And then you see the scene of like she's having sex with someone, and you see like the banana, and you think it's like the husband, like, oh, she got the husband to do the shit, but then you hear him come in and like it was Goose that she was fucking Goose, and she freaking she gets killed because the husband's like
Shorty's fucking
super
insane,
jealous and just freaking kills her with the fucking shovel, like beats her with the
fucked
shovel.
up.
And then you have Goose, who basically runs away, tries to go back home, but then Shorty tells like the cops, like, oh yeah, like so and so freaking.
Can I have some tips?
Oh yeah, hell yeah. So and so got my freaking. So and so was freaking fucking my wife, blah blah. Like, oh, there's his brother, and they were pointing at Rocket. So the cops freaking pull Rocket in.
Yeah.
And they're like, yo, where's your brother? And he's like, dude, he's coming for his brother hard. He's like, yo, he's at work. Like, I don't know, but like he's selling fish and this and that. And they're like, oh, well, you're just gonna come with us. And he's like, well, what about the fish? What's gonna happen with my fish? And they're like, oh, it's all good.
Go. Come on.
And they basically, they just go back to his house. They like search the house to see if Goose is there.
Yeah.
And he's not there. And when Rocky's narrating, he basically just saying like, that's the day like my dad just didn't talk, like stopped anything to do with freaking Goose.
Yeah.
And then he basically says like, oh yeah, Goose ran away. You know, no one ever seen him ever again.
Yeah.
But then we see when he's running away, he runs into Lil Dice.
Yep.
And Lil Dice has all these freaking. He has his glasses on. He has his nice watches. He's pearl all this money, and he's hanging with the homie Benny when Benny's little.
Yep.
And freaking Goose comes, sees him, and freaking takes the money. And Lil Dice is like, yo, Benny, why you letting him do that? It's our money. And then fucking Goose slaps him, takes his money, and is just like leaving. And then we get a flat, and then we start talking about
back to the first job they did.
Yeah, back to the first job with Lil Dice, where he was sitting out there, and he's like, oh, these dudes want all the fun, and they're not letting me do anything. And so he goes in there when they had he shoots it. It shatters like a mirror, and then that's when the Tender Trio like, all right, cool, let's dip. Yeah. And that's where we see the beginning of the movie where they steal the car, they leave, and then we see Lil Dice walking in there, man. And just starts killing motherfuckers.
Everybody, dude. Everybody. It's fucking insane. He's just like a bloodthirsty motherfucker the whole movie, dude. Like, he just kills people for fun and shit. Yeah. Cheers, bro. Yeah. Yeah, dude. It's pretty insane. It's pretty bad. It's pretty terrible. He's like a little fucking, like, what? Probably like anywhere from 12 to 15-year-old kid, maybe. Maybe even a little younger than that. And just like laughing and like doing this shit with a smile on his face, bro. It's insane.
Dude, he might be one of the greatest villains I've ever seen.
Lil Dice / Lil Z.
Yeah.
I do have to say too, bro, casting wise, the kid and then like the 10 years older version of him, so good. Both of them were perfect, bro. Like, and like they did such a good job of casting them to be like, you know, capture the same energy just at a different age. But yeah, for sure. And then you also get like a little more backstory, right, on what Benny and him have been up to. Yeah. Up to that point, which is basically like running their own like scams and jobs all over the place and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, we after like actually no, we don't get that scene of like Lil Dice killing Goose until like a little bit later, till they're older. But like we fast forward like a few years. I don't know how many. But
well, because that's when it jumps to the 70s again, right?
Yeah, I forget. Yeah, it jumps to it when like they see like the electricity like going up, like the first like light pole going up, and then they like the little kids, they're like walk behind this car, and then they're like older. It's like Rocket and someone else, I forget who it is, but they like it like fast forwards to when they're older, and you can see like Rocket's just in school. He's trying to be a good freaking kid, hanging out. He really likes this chick, Angelica.
Yeah.
And but she's dating some white freckled red haired dude.
Tiago.
Yeah, Tiago.
Yeah, I assume Santiago.
Yeah. And,
Tiago.
And you see how he's just like in love with her, and he's just like, I'll do anything for her, man. And he's like, oh, you want to smoke a joint? And she's like, yeah. And she's like,
all right, hold up, I'll go get this one.
And we'll go get it from the homie, and then that's when we meet the homie Blackie.
Yeah.
And that's when we get introduced to Lil Z, who then we flashback is like, oh, it's Lil Dice, and that's how we see he killed his brother. Where was I fucking going with that? But yeah, this is when shit starts getting pretty gnarly, and then you really see like the struggle that these kids have to go through day to day as they're like growing up. Because shit's a struggle when they're smaller, but you can see when they're younger, the kids kind of see it as like a game, sort of almost, because they're not mature enough and they're not privy to everything that's going on. But then once they get older and they realize everything that's happening, they're like, oh shit, okay, yeah, shit's fucking for real. So shit starts to get crazy
Yeah, definitely.
after this part. Basically, when Lil Z shows up, he's like, so this part when they're in Blackie's apartment when he's going to get the joint, I really liked how they showed the evolution of the apartment and how it got to like where it's at.
Yeah, definitely.
How the one lady that used to have it freaking would sell drugs, and then she would also give drugs to kids in terms of like freaking doing sexual shit with them. And one of them was, what was his name, like Big Boy or something like that.
Yeah, Big Boy.
And then when he got old enough, he fucking basically kicked that chick out and like took over selling drugs for her.
Yep.
He had a dude that sold drugs for him named
That's where Carrot comes in.
Yeah, Carrot comes in.
Yeah.
Carrot works as a dealer, and then eventually he works as the manager.
Yep.
And then eventually he
Carrot has a friend.
Yeah, Carrot has a friend.
That he decides to like bring in as a dealer, like, and is like, okay, like make sure you get the money by Friday or whatever.
Yeah, he basically like fronts him these drugs and is like, yeah, make sure you have the money by Friday. And he's telling Big Boy like, oh, like, you know, he's my friend, like, you know, so I gave it to him, like, just give him another week, like he'll be good for it.
Yeah.
And then Big Boy's like, yeah, either you're gonna kill him or I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Yep.
And then so Carrot basically freaking kills him.
Yep.
Doesn't look at him when he kills him too, which I, you know,
crazy, dude.
crazy. Like, you gotta kill your friend and like just doesn't look at him. But you see like the two sides of the coin, right? You see how like, yeah, Carrot's getting into it, but he's not getting like addicted to the drugs. He's more getting addicted to the lifestyle.
Yeah.
And getting deeper into being a drug dealer, whereas his friend's sort of just like this junkie, you know.
Yeah.
So you see the two sides of the coin where like the kids are like, all right, I either have to do this or I either have to do that, you know. So it's like, it's sad seeing that, but then it's also like it opens your eyes to like, fuck, dude, here in America we got so many different fucking choices, bro.
Yeah,
like,
for sure, dude.
It's not cutthroat like that where it's like it's either got to do this or that. Like, look, we're sitting here fucking talking about this shit, bro. Like,
yeah, for
God
sure,
damn,
100%.
put shit into perspective.
Yep.
But then you see like a Big Boy gets caught up, ends up dying in prison, and then that's when Carrot basically just takes over his shit. And then basically he was getting just too big to be in that like city or whatever. Yeah. And then kind of like moved into like the bigger part, and then that's when
he leaves it to Blackie, who was like his best like runner for a while, and dealer and shit.
That's when we get into Lil Z being like, "Oh, it's not your apartment, man."
Yeah.
And just basically takes that shit.
Yeah, straight up.
And then we start
keeps him around though. Yeah,
we start seeing the beginning of this crazy like drug war that's starting between Lil Z and Carrot. Yeah. Because we have this scene where Lil Z and Benny are like downtown, and Lil Z has become one of the most like respected hoods in the whole like city because of how many people he fucking kills. Yeah. And
also too, like what's his name talks about it like a little bit. It's like fucked up, but he's like Rocket talks about how like it's like safer to walk in the streets now. He's like, not because like people are better or anything like that, but like if you ever have trouble, you just go to Little Z and he'll go fucking kill him. So like shit's like not nearly as like, I mean it is because Lil Z is still going around and the gang's still going around killing people and stuff, but like yeah,
he's more of like a hitman at this point.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, exactly. I mean he is still selling drugs, like they do, like they're selling coke and pot, like, but
I think it's more like killing people that he's like
yeah because he's like it's like protection. It's like, you know, like but yeah, dude, that shit's fucking nuggets. He basically took over. It was split up, right? There was like a few different like territories kind of that like
Carrot's territory, and then there was like a few other dealers that they mentioned, but I didn't catch their names. But like it's in that point where like Lil Z's walking around, everyone's like saying hi to him, and he's telling Benny like, yo, like, we can be killing people, we can do this, but he's like, what's the big thing? He's like, it's selling, it's owning everything, it's like running your own business. And he's like, he's like, you see, like, that person, he's got all the gold chains. Like, you see Carrot, like, Carrot's cool. And then you see Blackie, he's got all the gold chains, gold watch, everything. He's like, we should have that. And he's like, so we're going to kill them all. Yeah. And then Benny's like, oh, yeah, like, you know, smoking on a joint. He's like, when are we going to do that? And he looks at him, he's like, right now. And he's like, what the fuck? Yeah. And that's when shit gets fucking crazy. And you see just how crazy fucking Lil Z is, bro.
Yeah, he's scary, dude.
Pretty nuts that, like, he was actually, like, a real person.
Yeah.
All this shit's based on a true story.
Yeah, it is insane, dude. Yeah. Yeah, he's scary. Very, very scary.
And then you just, like...
It's just a montage of him doing exactly that. Like, he goes through and he takes everybody out. Except for Blackie, because that's like where you kind of catch up to where it started, right? Of him busting into the door. And it's cool because then you see it from a different angle. Like at first you saw him coming in the door as if like you were in the room. And then when you come back around to it the next time, you're with him as he goes into the room.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a cool like
Mhm.
reverse like that.
There's a lot of things that they did really good, like in this movie, like
Yeah.
that, like fuck, like the cinematography was really good.
Mhm.
The music was super fucking good. I really like the music.
Definitely.
A lot different, you know. Definitely the more like the like traditional like Brazilian and like
Mhm.
music and all that stuff. So I liked hearing that,
Mhm.
especially because that's not something I like listen to a lot.
Yeah.
Or I really ever like the only time I've really probably ever listened to that stuff is when I took like a world music class in freaking college.
Well,
But
that's cool.
that's about it. So I really like listen to it. Fuck, dude, like there was just so many points in this movie where I was just like, holy fucking shit. Like one, just seeing all the violence and just how like normal it is.
Yeah.
You're like, how do people even like grow up in that? And
Mhm.
like it makes you respect people more that like go and like do different things, because
Mhm.
you can see how from the movie how like sort of easy it is to kind of get sucked into like the whole chain of command of like drug dealing, right? How they have
they
like
lay it out.
they have like the delivery people, which are like the younger kids. Then they have the dealers.
Well, they start as delivery boys,
Mhm.
and then once they're like kind of trusted, then they get promoted to lookouts, and then after lookouts, then they can move up to dealers.
And then after dealers, they're soldiers.
Yeah, or no, I think it's soldiers, and then they said if you're smart enough,
And good
then
enough
you
at
can be a
math.
then you can be a manager.
Mm-hmm. And my favorite part, which I thought was like funny and then also clever, was like because they have a name for the dealers. They're called vapors.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're
yeah.
like, because when the heat gets like intense, like vapor like evaporates
Yeah.
quickly. And I was like, damn it,
that
that's
is
fucking great.
yeah.
That was fucking
Yeah,
when
that
the,
was a
when the
good
heat
one.
turns out quickly, like vapor evaporates quickly. So I was
Yeah.
like, look at that
That
catch.
shit was good.
But I was like, fuck yeah, that shit was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you see how kind of like easy it is, and how like everyone, like all these little kids are like involved, and it makes you feel sad. And then how like even like the corruption side, like you see all the cops are like in on a lot of the
yeah.
things, like supplying weapons, and
Yeah.
how just sort of like also like fucked up they are, and like in their tactics, like when they're looking for who is it? I think like Shaggy
Yeah.
in the beginning,
Yeah.
and they like mistake him from like they mistake someone else for Shaggy, and they
Yeah.
just like kill him, and they're like, oh fuck, it was the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Damn.
They're like, he wasn't even like a hood, and then he's like, yeah, well, we'll make him one, and they like put the gun in his hand, and then like like fire it really quick. Like, it's crazy shit, dude. Yeah, it's fucking hardcore.
What was your favorite part of this movie?
I think actually I like Benny's going away party. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably my favorite scene, I would
Mhm.
say, because it's a really good like. It's crazy too because it's like I didn't really think about this when I was watching the movie, but then when we were talking about it, like right now, it like perfectly mirrors what what happens with Shaggy, right? And like Shaggy and Benny,
Mm-hmm.
is it like Benny starts to get involved with Angelica, and they're basically making the same plan. They're like, all right, we're gonna run away and like let's go be hippies on a farm somewhere or something. Like we're about peace and love and shit like that.
Yeah, because she's like, we're just two hippies, huh? I was
Yeah.
like, fuck, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's sad, and so like
Where's my hippie, man?
Yeah. And so fucking Benny's just like down. He's like, all right, yeah, let's go. Like, I'll get the fuck out of here. And so it throws a whole going away party, and it's like sweet because like you get a bunch of scenes that definitely show it of like Benny's like they literally say it like a bunch of times. They're like, Benny's the coolest hood in the city of God or whatever.
And how he's just he's like friends with everyone. He's cool with everyone.
You see it when you get to the party because like it's like he had everybody there, like all the different like crowds or whatever all across the city. Like everybody came for the party and shit.
Yeah, the soul crowd. You
Yeah.
had like the salsa crowd, like all the
the
different
groovies.
gangs. Yeah, the groovies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my favorite. I think my favorite scene in the whole movie was probably in that same obviously in that same party when him and Lil Z are like fighting over the camera.
Yeah.
And you have the song changes, and then the song changes, and then you see the lights change to where they're kind of like strobe,
Yeah.
and the struggle, like that shit was crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, dude. This is a really great way to shoot this scene because it's fucking chaotic. No one, obviously you see like no one has any idea like what the fuck's going on because it's panning to different sections and everyone's just having a good time, but then you see all this shit like happening.
Yeah.
And then when the fucking gun goes off, because you see fucking Blackie who's trying to kill freaking
Lil Z.
Lil Z, because he basically Lil Z basically like embarrassed him, or Blackie did some shit where he killed his girl basically, like in the city, and Lil Z was like, why the fuck would you do that? Blah blah blah. Like now the cops are gonna be all in the slums, and we don't want that.
Yeah.
And he was basically like gonna shoot him, and then Benny was like, yo, like don't, like he's had enough, like it's all right.
Yeah.
And then so like Blackie was like pissed off about that, so he was gonna go shoot Lil Z, and then accidentally fucking shot Benny.
Yeah.
God damn. Spoilers.
Oh yeah.
Fucking spoilers.
We always spoil stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty sad, man. That part that it tears you up, man. Like, yeah, but just like from such a happy, cool moment of everybody like being there chilling, like, and then all of a sudden, just like you kind of get a sense of it starting to turn as well, though, because like before that, like when they're arguing at some point, like Benny kind of tells Lil Z, right? He's like, "You need a girlfriend, bro." And he's
Yeah,
like,
straight
fuck,
up.
dude. And then he like dips or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they're there, like you see him like trying to just like ask like this chick to dance or whatever, and she's like, "No, sorry, like I came with somebody or whatever," and she walks off. And then he like gets all fucking pissed.
Yeah. And he like doesn't even really know how to ask her. He's like yelling like, "You want to dance with me?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "What?" And he's like, "You're gonna dance with me?" And she's like, "Nah, I'm cool."
Yeah, dude, that shit's fucking funny.
And then he turns into just a straight Mr. Intimidator and just
Yeah.
tries to find where the dude's at and just fucking makes him strip in front of everybody.
Yeah,
and like
dude.
I was like, "Fuck, dude, you're like that's not gonna make her like you." Like,
Yeah, like what are you doing, man?
fucked up.
Yeah,
He's a fucked up dude,
he
bro.
is.
And he even ends up freaking raping, who is it, Ned, the Knockout Ned's freaking girl.
Uh-huh.
And that's when you get the whole war between him and Knockout Ned.
Yeah, because there's I can't remember when it is, but like there's a point where Rocket is like talking about trying to get a job, which he does for a little while at like a grocery store or something like that. I can't remember. Yeah, and he gets fired from there because like
Contact high.
contact high.
It's like, I think my dad closed that door. Let me open it back up. Keep going.
He gets fired because like you get introduced to like another like kind of faction or whatever, which are the runts, bro. Yeah, the little fucking kids, right? Like that run around and basically don't respect the laws of like, you know, the slums and shit like that, and like everything that they've kind of set up as like all the gangs and everything.
It's fucking troublemakers.
They
dude.
are. They're just little shits, like running around robbing people's like fucking stores and shit. It's pretty wild stuff.
Yeah.
But so like oh damn it, I forgot.
Well, his whole thing when he's like at he gets the job at the supermarket, like it's not good money, but he's like, I hope they fire me because then I'll get like severance pay and then I'll buy a camera because he wants to be a freaking photographer.
Yeah.
And then when the rents come in and they like are stealing shit or like doing fucking just stealing shit from the freaking store.
Yeah.
The store manager just like fires them. And he's like, well, what about my severance? And he's like, severance? He's like, what the fuck? He's like, basically just is grouping them up with them because the only reason he knows them is because when Rocket was trying to get involved with Angelica and he was like smoking a joint with her, like all the runs came over and was like, yo, let me hit the joint. And he was like, okay. And you can see Angelica was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And so they are like kind of cool with them because they walk in, they see him, and he's like, oh, there's that dude from there's fucking blah blah blah, and he's like, they dap him up, he's like, he's such a cool dude, like still smoking on that good weed, and I was like, fuck yeah, like as little kids you should not be smoking weed, but at least you know what good weed is. So
that shit was funny, dude.
Yeah, homie basically gets fired, and then after that he's like, basically wants to try his luck in being a hood.
Yep.
And that's when he has a bunch of just misfortunes, man. Like, no, I wouldn't say
No,
misfortunes, but it's like
he just can't ever go through with it. Like,
Yeah.
he gets there and he like ends up basically like talking to whoever he's trying to rob for too long and realizes that they're just like another human being, and he's like, oh fuck, I can't do this. Like, yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, we get introduced to Knockout Ned because he's on the bus and he's with this homie on the bus, and they're like, all right, cool, we're gonna rob him, and he's like, oh yeah, he's a good person to rob. Like, don't worry, he's not gonna do anything. Like, he doesn't give a fuck about like giving away his boss's money.
Yeah.
And then that's when they talk to Knockout Ned and they see how he's all about like peace and love and you know, study so you can get out of here so you don't have to be like blah 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 like one of these hoods. And they're like, damn, this guy's a nice guy. And they're like, oh, you're from a city of God? Like, I'm from there too. Like, here, one of you guys can go through free.
Yeah.
And they're like, damn, like, and they're all like, he was cool. Like, we couldn't kill him. They're like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they go to a freaking
Like a bakery, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're literally gonna rob it, and then all of a sudden, like, the girl was like flirting with a Rocket, and then he
Yeah.
got her number, so she was like, they're like, yeah, she was too cool to like to rob her, and then they're like, yeah, agreed, man,
Yeah,
agreed.
yeah. Oh, dude, it's pretty funny.
And then they freaking some dude is like, oh, do you know where this city is? And they're like, huh? And they realize he's from like San Paulo, and they're like, and he's narrating, he's like, yeah, no one from San Paulo could be cool. And so they're like, yeah, dude, we'll show you. And their intentions to rob him or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when they get in, and he was just basically like, you guys smoke weed? And they're like, oh,
No.
we've never smoked it in my life. And he was like, the devil recognizes one of his own.
Yeah. That shit was funny, dude. Yeah, man.
I'm gonna be using that, dude. You smoke? Oh, how'd you know? The devil
Devil
recognizes one of his own.
Yeah. That shit's funny, dude.
And then yeah, they blaze it up with that dude.
Yep.
And felt bad for fucking Rocket, dude, because he rolled the joint with the paper that the lady gave him his her number. I was like,
yeah.
fuck.
They
But I
kinda
also
figured
liked
it
how
out.
he was like, I've always been good at like rolling really good joints. And he's
Yeah.
like, fuck, if I could just be good at rolling joints as I was at like other stuff, like I'd be out of here already.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking funny.
And then I related to him at that moment. I was like, we're both really fucking good at rolling joints. And I liked seeing it because how like technical he gets with it too is like low key how like technical I like get with it too.
Yeah.
Like when he's like laying it down and he like lays it all like nicely and it like looks all freaking nice and cylindrical. I was like, that's me right
Yeah,
there.
like, I see you.
Yeah, I see you, man. Real recognizes real. And yeah, it's funny because he was saying how like I think he's narrating and saying how like, you know, maybe all those things were supposed to happen or like those little misfortunes basically like across the road. And when he's saying that, like you see like the number on the paper that he's smoking, you're like, damn.
Yeah.
Like one of your big things is trying to lose your virginity.
Yeah, literally.
And then the lady literally gives you her number.
And you gotta burn it up.
And you burned it up,
Yeah,
man. Fuck.
dude.
Sucks for you, dude.
God damn it, dude.
But yeah, and then you see how he's just like, nah, I can't do that. And then he gets like a job, or not yet, but he kind of just, you see how all this shit's going down now. Freaking, basically, like I said earlier, Lil Z ends up like running into Knockout Ned, and then the girl that Knockout Ned's like dating because Lil Z's trying to like hit on her.
Yeah.
And then basically like they follow him, and Lil Z ends up like raping his girl, and then like just beating the fuck out of freaking Ned.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I thought was like kind of funny was when Rocket's narrating, he's like, yeah, I don't know why he didn't kill him in that moment. And then it flashes to Lil Z, and he like stops, and he's like, why didn't I kill him?
Yeah.
And then he's like, let's go back. And they're like, oh, what about Kurt? He's like, oh, I can wait. Like, you know, he'll be there. Like, let's go kill this dude. And I was like, that was clever.
Good. Yeah.
The narrating and all that stuff is like, it's done so well.
It is.
And I love all the names of like the different chapters too. Like I really like that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that was something where I was like watching. I was like, "Fuck, this is so good." And,
Yeah.
like it's so clever. Like you have like a lot of different things going on. Like you have this traditional, like not traditional story, but like you have a coming of age story mixed in with like this sort of drug dealing story. But it's crafted so beautifully. Like it really feels like this art of like this little like piece of art that's like happening, you know, like this got this really good narration. All the cinematography is really well. The character building is done really well. Like you said, like when it has those like freeze frames, it's like, oh, we'll get to the story later. It's like, okay, because when you do get to it later, it makes so much sense and it's done really well. You're like, that,
shit.
yeah, you're like, holy shit,
Yeah.
great fucking job.
Yep.
So this shit was fucking great.
So good, dude.
And then yeah, it just starts to get more intense, bro. After freaking after Benny gets killed. Basically Lil Z is just like, what the fuck, and it's just going on a
Goes
tear,
off the
bro.
rails,
And
yeah.
it's sad from here on out because you see like, you know, Knockout Ned gets involved into it because he's like, when Lil Z goes back to try to kill him, he basically kills Knockout Ned's brother, and then I think also like his dad or
His
like
uncle.
his uncle, yeah. And so he basically goes to Carrot and is like, yo, all right, we gotta take this dude out.
Yeah.
And you see his evolution from like super nice guy to freaking drug dude who doesn't give a fuck.
crazy. Fucking Carrot like just like walks up, like, cause like Knockout Ned like kind of walks out hella slow, and like Carrot walks out and he's just like sees the whole thing because he just like was around, and then he's like looks at him and he's like, you want a gun? He's like just takes it from him like hella slow and just like fucking goes ham, bro. Like he goes out there and there's like all those dudes like fucking like kind of scrambling around a little bit, and he just like
Mhm.
starts firing at him or whatever, and like all of them are just like shooting at him, and he's just like walking like nobody's business and just like
Because he was
doesn't
a
give
marksman
fuck.
too, right?
Yeah, that's right. Because he was in the military
Yeah.
before, right? Yeah, that's right.
He was a marksman, so he's listening. There's
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy.
fucking Terminator ass shit, just freaking walking down.
Yeah, it was pretty savage. Yeah, he said Rocket says it later. He's like, knockout Ned's shots were worth like 10 of a fucking regular hoods or something like that. Like he would. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah. Then you just see his downfall. How he starts out like saying like, "All right, I'll do this with you, like
Yeah.
with Carrot's group, but no killing innocent people. Like
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like you can't kill innocent people on
Yeah.
some Batman shit.
Yeah.
On some like
Yeah.
we're gonna fuck everybody up, but
we're
no
not gonna
killing.
kill Yeah.
No guns.
No guns. No.
And then, but you just see like there's one part where they're going to like, cause it shows how they're holding places up. They're robbing. First they rob a gun store so they can get more guns to match the firepower of
Yeah,
Lil Z.
yeah.
Then they go to a supermarket to get hella money. And then I think they go to like a bank too or something. I forget where they go to. But then that's when you see sort of like, Knockout Ned seems like he's not doing well. He's like a lot skinnier. You can kind of see like his cheekbones a little
Yeah,
bit. His like
yeah.
hair is fucked up, and
Yeah.
he's wearing like a tracksuit.
Mhm.
And then you see like a guard trying to stop, and he just turns around and fucking kills him right away.
Yeah, well, there's like a good like step by step, because in the first one it's like I think what it is like Carrot saved his life. Like
Mhm.
Lil Z was like gonna get shot by like one of the owners or whatever. I mean, sorry, not Lil Z, Jesus. Knockout Ned was
Mhm.
gonna be shot by one of the owners, and fucking Carrot like takes him out and he like shoots him or whatever, and he's like, "There's always an exception to the rule."
Mm-hmm.
And then like on the next one, it's like vice versa, where like some dude's coming in and gonna shoot, I think somebody else, and then like he takes him out or whatever, right?
Mhm. And when I think it says something along the lines of like, and then when the exceptions start becoming like the rules or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, they like flip it, and then yeah, he just starts like he turns into a
Fucking savage.
yeah, and just starts taking people out for
I'm
fun.
a savage.
Fucking A, dude.
Nasty,
But-
bougie, yeah, acting stupid. What's happening? I'm a savage.
Put that song over that sequence.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, there's not much more I can say about this movie other than like summarizing and just saying how like, just like it gets really sad towards the end. Like I think you have
Yeah.
some more like uplifting parts where you see Rocket start to work for the newspaper. And then you see how he's like he's liking it, and then you see the people around him starting to like him and starting to put him in better positions.
Yeah.
And then he meets like the photographer that he really likes, that he looks up to, which is like a good moment for him. And then he finally takes a picture of Lil Z and then like accidentally like leaves it at the freaking like wherever like the office is at. And then they publish those pictures, and he
Yeah.
freaks out because he thinks Z's gonna freaking murder him.
Yeah.
But then actually Lil Z's like, oh damn, people love me because of this shit. Like, here,
Yeah.
take more pictures and publish them and stuff like that. So
Yeah, it's
that's a little bit more uplifting because you see his career starting to take off. You see
Yeah.
him starting to like everything's falling into place with him after so long. Like,
yeah.
kind of going through this weird, like questioning himself of like, dang, should I be doing this, what I'm doing, or should I be doing what everyone else is doing, because it looks like everyone else is better off and everyone else is making more money.
Yeah.
Everyone else has more girls. Everyone,
Just
people
did-
aren't poor.
Yeah, I think he says it earlier. He's like when he's like trying to go through all of his shit, like robbing people and everything. He's like one day it just finally clicked with me. He's like, honor doesn't pay or some shit like that. Yeah,
Mhm.
which apparently it does.
It does, man.
Just pay your dues.
Yeah.
or whatever it is.
Yeah. Because then
Takes
the
time.
the lady that published his pictures, he was like yelling at her,
Mhm.
then loses virginity to her. Like,
Yeah,
there you go, dude. Like,
Yeah.
that's one way to do it. That's one way to
Yeah.
freaking lose it, bro. But, and then I think the craziest part to me
Mhm.
was the ending for sure. When they're going through like the whole final fight, we get to the beginning of the end. Where we
Yeah.
see where we started off, where Rocket's in the middle of the street. He's trying to grab the chicken, and it's funny because at the beginning you think that both sides, the cops and then Lil Z's like gang, are trying to shoot at Rocket. Like in the beginning when you're watching, you're like, oh fuck, both these sides are trying to just fucking shoot him. Like, holy shit. But then you get to the end and you realize like, oh no, Lil Z was trying to get him to take a picture. It just wanted to get the like all that stuff. And so I was like, damn, that was a pretty neat way to tie everything back in,
Yeah.
and then also have like a little twist where you really don't see that sort of happening. And then I guess like one of the not one of the cops shooting one of freaking Lil Z's gang, but freaking you have freaking Knockout Ned come out with his fucking rifle and fucking just freaking laser one of the motherfuckers, dude,
Yeah,
like
dude.
crazy.
Yeah.
And that's when all the fighting breaks out. And then you have that kid Otto who wants to be part of the gang and he wants a gun, or like Carrot tries to give him a gun, but then Knockout Ned's like, nah, he's just
Yeah.
part of like, he's just like working, like don't give him that. And
Yeah.
then he works up to the point where he has a gun. Obviously Otto and Ned are chasing after someone. They gun someone down, but then Otto gets shot and he falls down. And he's, freaking Ned's trying to help him, trying to take care of him. And then Carrot's like, oh, like, Lil Z got hit. Like, come on, like, let's get him. Like, and then so Ned gets up, turns his back, and then fucking Otto shoots him, bro.
Yeah.
Like, that shit was crazy. I was like, what the fuck?
Uh-huh.
I felt like something like that was going to go down because when Otto first meets him and he's like, oh, why do you want to do this? He's like, I want to avenge my father's killer. And he, like, kind of, like, looks at Ned, and I was like,
The
wait.
fuck?
I was like, did he kill his dad? I was like,
Yeah.
when did he fucking do that? And then obviously you see, like, the guard that Ned shot was the one who was the dad to freaking Otto. So that was a freaking crazy twist ending.
Yeah. It's crazy how like that late on in the movie they can still create like meaningful like stories for like quick little characters like that.
Yeah.
It's crazy, dude. It's
Yeah.
insane. It's so well done.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 for sure.
Pretty fucking good.
Like
yeah.
when I was watching it then I was like, yeah. I think at the scene where I was like, yeah, this is a 10 was the scene with Lil Z and Benny fighting and at the party. That's
Yeah.
the point where I was like, oh yeah, this is a fucking 10.
Yeah.
Then you get to then you're like, damn, this is a fucking 11, honestly.
Yeah, it's good.
Because you have like Lil Z who gets captured and then freaking he gets put in the back of the fucking police car with Carrot, and then they stop and the freaking cops take freaking Lil Z out, but then they leave Carrot in there. They're like, nah, you're for the media. And then they go to this alley where more cops are waiting, and freaking Z just gives them a bunch of money and freaking watching all his jewelry and basically just paying off the cops. So then you realize this whole time while all this shit's going down, the reason why Z isn't in any hot water is because he's freaking been paying off the cops this whole fucking time. And then you see freaking Rocket capturing it all, man, capturing all the fucking corruption, all the fucked up shit. And then you see the freaking the runts come through. They're like, and Z's like, kids, thanks. He's like, all right, we're gonna have to do a couple holdups so we can get my business back. And then the kids are like, your business, and they just fucking murder his ass. I was like, it's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And I think it was like a beautiful way to almost end the movie, to show how kind of just like, and the cycle just kind of continues, right? Like, all this fucked up shit is happening, but since there's so much corruption, like no one's really helping the cause of it going on. Like Rocket's really the only one that's doing that because he's taking the pictures and showing up about all the shit that's going down.
Yeah.
Showing the cops, showing all this and showing all that. But then when you have the kids sort of like just walking down with their guns at the end, they're like, oh yeah, we can just, let's rob this place and rob that place. You're like, fuck, dude, like, and it just keeps going, like,
It's
sad that it's just going to
over
keep
and
going
over.
like that,
Yeah. What's his actual name? Because the narrator the whole time, I don't know if it was actually like him narrating or anything, but it's like Rocket grown up and like he
like
says,
William Rodriguez or something like that.
Yeah. I love that part at the end where he's like, he basically is like, and I would know because like it's me, like and like I became it was great, dude. I love that part. It was a great ending.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, City of God, definitely check it out.
Definitely. That one's that's out of the two. Definitely go watch that one.
Yeah, if we're gonna recommend one out of these two, it's gonna be this one.
Yeah.
And this one you can smoke during it too. It's one of those ones though, like if you turn into like a real empathetic person when you smoke, like this might not be the one to smoke during because like there's a lot of sad moments that happen, but I mean there's a lot of cool things that happen, like cool things in terms of like spectacle and like action and like it being like a drug movie. Like it's pretty crazy.
A lot of charming characters.
Yeah, a lot of charming characters. A lot of characters easily fall in love with, like, to be like, damn, this is it's just a great movie. Easily deserving of, like, I think it's like a 93 on, like, Rotten Tomatoes or something like that. Like,
I think it got nominated for Oscars.
Yeah.
If not won.
Yeah.
Them. Yeah. So it's a good movie, dude.
Definitely check out City of God, guys.
Yeah, for sure.
100%.
100%.
Oh, yeah. Anything else crossing your mind that you're thinking of?
Not too much. You know what I was thinking earlier is you were talking about reading the freaking what do you call it? The Clockwork Orange book. And do you remember I was telling you about that trilogy of the Star Wars books? Any of those, like a horror book, whatever it is, we could do those three if you want.
Oh hell yeah.
We should do book.
I'm down, dude. Switch it up. I'm down to
Yeah,
do a book. Fuck
yeah.
yeah. All right.
I'm not the fastest reader, so we
It's all
could
good.
start it, and then when
Uh-huh.
we're done, you know,
Yeah.
we do the episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, we
The
should.
Too High for TV book club.
Yeah, yeah, dude.
Hell yeah. I'm with it.
All right, cool.
All right, man. Anything else you got to say to the people for this episode, episode 16?
Thank you very much, because these are two movies that I don't think I would have watched of my own accord. Definitely not. So I appreciate everybody who did put in and vote and help us get these movies into the brain tank, into the repertoire, man.
Hell yeah. And then bear with us. We might not be the best at like breaking these down and trying to talk about every,
Yeah.
little thing, but we're just kind of going to show that like, expand your horizons, sit down, smoke, watch a movie.
Yeah.
And just talk about it with your friends.
Exactly.
And you can have some serious conversations. It's not just
Mhm.
all about fucking Marvel and action and all this,
Yeah.
all the time. You can watch movies like this and then understand, have deeper conversations and all that stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll get better as the time goes on. But I liked this episode because it was our first time like really dipping our toes into like something other than like, an action-y or like a
Yeah.
fantasy sort of
Yeah.
type movie.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
definitely going to have to be doing some more of these for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. We could do a foreign film episode too.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
We're also have to do I'm No Longer Here because
Yeah.
that's some Colombian film.
Why don't we just do the other two?
Next week?
Sure.
I'm with it. I'm with
Okay,
it.
cool.
All right, next week we're going to be doing I'm No Longer Here and Amores Perros?
Perros, I
I'm
think, yeah.
I'm
think-
sorry.
I
I'm
think
butchering
that's
that.
what
I
it
can't
is.
remember what it was, but
Yeah.
But yeah, also, I just want to say thanks to you guys too. 16 episodes in, obviously, a lot of people are enjoying it. Hoping you guys are enjoying it. If not,
Mm.
don't care. Sorry. But like I said,
It's just fun.
we get the enjoyment of sitting
Yeah.
out here and just talking, and we hope you guys enjoy listening, and we hope we can be, in a better part of your day with all the crazy shit that goes on in the world. Hopefully we can help, take your mind off some stuff a little bit.
Yeah.
And join us next week, episode 17.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be bringing it back.
With another couple of
Another couple of fan episodes. Another couple of
Back to
fan,
back.
yeah, fan movies, not fan episodes.
Oh yeah.
Fuck, dude.
Next week we have to just like litter the whole like shot right here with a bunch of fans.
Yeah, exactly. Bunch of fans. Yeah, guys, that was episode 16. I am one of your co-hosts, freaking Seth Green.
Seth Green. Shit. I'm Linda Cardellini. Scooby-Doo 2.
And we'll see you guys fucking next week on a new episode of Dragon Ball Z. Hell yeah. All right.
We forgot to hit the clap.
It's all good. We'll clap at this time.
1, 2, 3.
It's just a good clap, dude.
That was a good clap. I love it.
Pause that.
That was a too high for